Dave, you've just won FishOMania, £50,000. Yeah. 1 second. Oh, no, you've not. We're going to reweigh you just to make sure. How can it happen?
Don't know.
How did that feel?
The Fishing Gurus podcast.
You're sweating already. Look at him.
Sweating already.
Come on, Dave. I'm trying to do a podcast here. You can't just get undressed. We've got a ginger stripper on.
Too attractive, mate.
It's not that kind of show, lads.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Female viewership's just shot up.
2 gingers on one podcast. Wow.
I was going to say 2 gingers and a bald guy, but it's actually 2 bald guys and a ginger.
I'm a ginger and a bald guy.
I know. When did it go, Dave?
When did it start going?
Yeah, when did it? Because he gives me a load of shit at the minute because mine's going.
Yours is going. And
I'd love to have your hair. I'd love to have that much hair.
What's left of it? Anyway?
Yeah, it's better than mine. I don't know. It's progressive, isn't it? Do you know when these bits go first?
That's where mine's going now.
And then somebody will walk past you and they'll notice this bit.
I think if that bit's gone, it's got to go.
Lower down. Let's look at your thatch. You're thick. You've got a thick thatch. You're fine.
No,
but
yeah, that's not a good. Hang on. Do that. It's not.
Can you see?
That's not a good look from like bird's eye view. There is it.
You've still got some round the back though, and that.
Yeah.
You've still got it here.
But don't stop growing around the back, does it? That's a cruel thing with going receding and balding.
When did you go for it, Tobe? When did you think I can't do this?
COVID. It's a funny. Mine's quite a good story actually.
Go on.
It was in COVID, as a lot of people I think went. But I was walking up the street, back to my missus' parents' house where we were staying, and I noticed my hairline in a car window, like a bit of wind. I looked like kind of Don King almost. It was like all the way back here. So I've gone in and I've gone to Lucy. I've gone, thinking of shaving my hair. She went, yeah, great idea. No hesitation, just straight down the barrel. Like, oh, okay.
Be honest with me. Yeah. Should I shave it? No, yes. No. Get it shaved now.
It was like, oh, okay, so we'll do it then. So she got her little brother to do it. And I said, look, mate, start slow. I'm really, you said earlier, or Camry, it's a big deal. You got to work up to it. So I was like,
it's a new look. It's a change. It's sticking, isn't it? When you do it, that's it.
I was like, put a 3 on. Put a guard on the razor.
Yeah,
put a 3 on, and we'll start there. She's done a 3. He's gone all over, and I've gone, all right, maybe let's try 2. So as he's gone to change the guards, we were talking about football or whatever or something like that for a couple of minutes. He's gone, all right, anyway, I'll crack on now.
He took the guard off.
There was no guard on it.
Yes.
And you went, I'm fucking bald.
And that was it. Since then, I thought, well, we've got to commit to it now, haven't we? So I was kind of forced into it, but it was inevitable anyway.
Like a Jackass scene when they used to go up behind people and just shave their
exactly
hair.
like that. I had a clean bit just all the way up the middle.
What are you going to do now, Tobe?
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm going to glue it back on.
When did yours go?
I've got a story as well. That's interesting because so I'd thought about it for a while. I was like, I'm going to have to do it. I decided, years before, my dad's bald. I was bald. And I thought, it's going to happen to me. So I'll brave the shave. I'll just take it clean off, won't I? And you keep putting it off. It gets a little bit late, and then I said to my missus, I'm thinking about doing it. Anyway, I went for my haircut, and she knew I was going for my haircutting. And I went to the same barbers who normally do a 2 back and sides and a trim on top. And I said, can you just give us a number 1?
No. What, everywhere?
Yeah. And he said, sure you don't want a number 2? And I went, yeah, it'd be fine, number 1. And he did it, and I was like, fucking hell.
Bit cold, this.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, what have I done? So, and I went back home, and I said to her, she's like, what do you think? And she was like, you could see, she was shocked. She was like, and the lad didn't like it.
What little lad?
Lad didn't like it in the playground.
Bless him.
Bless him. I mean, there's some Thatchers when you go to the playground. I'm 45 and he's 9. Some people are having kids in the 20s, aren't they? So they're like, you could rock up, what are you, 30?
33. I know I don't look it, Dave, but yeah, 33.
33 with a 9-year-old with a thatch, and he wants his dad to be the same, doesn't he? But
it's true, that.
I didn't want to have a bloody monk-style haircut.
Look at this, Toe. Get the photos up. I'm sure I've labelled some Ginger Dave, right? Look at this ginger. Everyone says, oh, Matt, you're not properly ginger. Strawberry blonde.
You're sandy, aren't you?
Yeah, you were
100%.
the ultimate. Look, that is so
See, I'll actually give you that because that's a
In
fair. Yeah.
These photos are so good that we've got on table.
I used to, when I was a kid, like, strangers come up and, like, ruffle you, put their hand through your hair.
Oh, and you got lovely hair.
Yeah. But, like, imagine,
Look at that.
like, in the 80s and 90s, there's some right horrible kids about. And if you're different, you got ginger hair, bright ginger hair, it's not a good look. But now, all the lasses want ginger hair, don't well, not remember ginger hair,
you're
but
right,
they want to dye the hair ginger, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant all the lasses wanted a ginger boyfriend. But...
Yeah.
No, that's proper. You were proper ginge.
at
That's
that.
Andy May ginge.
That's proper. You're right. You're not like that.
No.
No.
There's so many different shades. You ever get bullied at school or out like that for being
Loads.
ginger? Honestly.
Absolutely hammered.
Badly or
Yeah.
jokingly?
No, badly, yeah.
Did you used to beat people up or
Not
did you
really.
used to fight
no.
back at all?
I didn't. And then the one time I did, I got fed up, and this lad, he was, he wanted to fight him, and I thought, I can have him actually. I'll take this one on.
Right.
And we'll meet at, I think it was Illingworth Park, like 8 o'clock on a Tuesday, whatever.
And how old are you at this point?
It's high school, so I'm like second or third year of high school, so that's 12, 13. And I was quite big then anyway. And he never showed up.
Never.
He never showed up. And I said, right, yeah. And then the following, I think I didn't want to fight him, but I thought, I've got to stand on this one.
Call his bluff.
At least I'll pick somebody who's not
Yeah,
massive.
Mm.
Or one of the hard lads. There's always a hard lad who you won't pick on him because he'd probably nail you in the classroom, wouldn't he?
Yeah. That'd probably be Toby at school, to be
No,
fair.
it definitely wasn't.
So he didn't even turn up and that
I
was
didn't
it?
turn up, and I thought, well, sod you, that turned out all right, didn't it?
Yeah, not even got the balls to show up.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Well, welcome to the podcast, mate.
Thank
Great
you.
to have you on.
Thank you.
Absolute
It's a pleasure. It's
Yeah.
my pleasure.
You listen to all the shows, don't you?
Yeah.
What's your favourite one so far? Can you pick one out of them?
I think everyone says similar, don't they? But like Will Raising, like I'm of the generation where he was like growing up, he was like a hero, similar age to me. He was doing all the stuff I wanted to do.
How old are you now?
45.
Quite old, ain't it?
It's very old, yeah. Got
Yeah.
my back, haven't I?
Any others stick out in your mind?
Is it Jan van Schendel?
Jan van Schendel, yeah.
I love really long podcasts.
You do, don't you? Whereas Toby says that I talk too much on him, and we need to like keep him a bit more concise. So yeah, let us know, folks, if you're listening.
It would be
seriously.
Good. It would, yes, absolutely.
Comment and let us know. Do you prefer? I'm talking about podcasts here, long ones or short ones. Like, let us know because it'll give us a bit of guidance, won't it?
Because we're different, aren't we? I think like a 2 hour, but you like them a bit longer, and Dave as well.
I love if it's informative. If there's some people are telling some stories that you didn't even know, Dave Harrell, stuff like that, how they got into business, how it went. You just assume, people just assume people get money, start a business, piece of piss, job done, and it's not. Their stories are all unique, and you think, wow, that's amazing. And I like to listen. Like when you're going to a qualifier that's 2 hours away, perfect for me would be 4-hour podcast, 2 hours down, 2 hours back. And the time passes. You're listening to the same old, I don't know, Lady Gaga and whatever's on
Spice Girls,
Virgin FM, and it's boring for me. Good old podcast, great.
Seems weird.
Meaty podcast.
I think people get bored of listening to us waffle on, but they clearly don't, do they? They love it.
Could do with us too, though, couldn't we?
They might do. Probably switched off by now anyway.
Apologies, guys.
Dave, first, massive congratulations. I think this is the first time we've had a proper FishOMania winner champions trophy on the table.
Boom.
So what a gift! What a gift, Toe.
Yeah, that's going
what
straight.
a gift to leave.
That's going straight in the new cabinet back to the studio, isn't it?
On a serious.
Is that a direct swap for an Aventus Poland?
You can do if you want.
I'm not ordering to do that, to be fair.
How's it feel, mate? FishOMania champion 2024. Massive congratulations. Has it sunk in yet?
No. I'm not sure it ever will.
No?
No.
Did you think you'd ever win that?
Don't happen to people like me.
Well, it clearly does. You've done it.
Happens to Bennett and Jamie and that, doesn't it?
What's happened to you as
Serial winners aren't they? Yeah, it's happened to me now, yeah.
How does it feel? How did it feel? Is it a special moment?
The funny thing is, you don't prepare for it. If you're getting a Fish Show final, you're not prepared to win it. You're going in it with the confidence that if you get the right peg, you can win it, but you don't dare dream. It's a distraction, that I think. Like if you're focused on the trophy and winning it, taking your eye off the prize, aren't you, really? So just blank all that thought of like, what would I do if I won it? You know, what would it mean? Blank all that out. Until you've done it, no point thinking about it for me.
How many finals had you been in, Dave, before you won this one? How many big finals of the big money ones had you already qualified for?
So I've been in 5 or 6. So I've been in 1 Maver, been in 4 FishOs, and then a Fish North semi.
Nice.
And the first final was 2016. Now, this is really interesting for me. So, sort of, I don't know how much we're going to go into it, but I'd been footballing for years, and I packed that in and I thought, right, I'm going to do something just for me. If I get something wrong, it's my fault. So I started off with a match fishing there, and then I'd done, this was my 5th or 6th qualifier, and I'd done FishOs and Mavers or whatever. I don't think Golden Reel was about then. And it was like the 6th qualifier and I got through to a final. I was like, this is easy, isn't it? Is this all you have to do?
Win a qualifier, straight in.
Yeah, the Maver, yeah.
And had you, before you won this FishO, had you had any that you'd been in and come close or had a chance in or got that like, I could win this, I'm close, I can... Had you had any that you'd been in where you'd had a chance?
No, I don't think so.
That's interesting. That's
so
interesting.
The ones that, I think, what, is it the last 3 years they've been at Westwood? So I've done 2 before at Hayfield. So the first one, the May that you were in, I think we said. So that was...
Johnny Wincup won it, I think.
Johnny Wincup. The lake had been shut down before. They'd been feeding the fish. And it was solid. What a final. It pissed it down, I swear.
Yeah, it did.
It acted horrendous. I've got pictures. Probably should have brought them today. My little one, that's 2016. She was 1 year old with his cousin in the back of the car, wet through. Chucked it down all day, and John Wincup fished 5 metres. Couldn't even keep the fish down. Weighed 250 pounds. Jamie Hughes chucked a feeder to the far bank in like peg 45 of Island Lake.
Back at Island, weren't they? Yeah.
250 pound on a feeder, or whatever it was. 220 pound on a feeder. That's unbelievable. And that final, we were talking about that, what happened in the final.
Yeah, go for it.
So I had Ryan Lidgard behind me in that one.
Yeah.
And for some reason it was pulling like a train. It was literally towing through.
Tanking.
Yeah. And I was on a little point. I was the end peg, but you got a blocker in. And I was fishing the short pole there with pellets, and they were fished. And obviously, because they've had to, it was close, so they had to feed it. There's a lot of fish short. You can't throw pellets 30 metres, can you?
No.
So naturally, that 5 metre line's really good. So it was really good. I was getting bites. There's movement there. I was foul-looking odd fish. And I wasn't as good then, I don't think. You know, I wouldn't have known how to combat that. So I'd practiced a little bit with paste.
Yeah.
I got this whole float. I wish I'd have brought that in. This really like...
This is in the final.
Yeah,
so you went down a pace route in the final.
I didn't go down. I didn't start off down a pace route. I had Ryan Lidgard behind me, and he said, and I said, I had like about 40 minutes on that, I think. And I said, I'm going to fish paste. And at the time, I'm looking for like confidence, like, you know, like, yeah, fish paste. And he was like, I don't know about that, Dave. So I'm going to fucking do it. I'm going to fish paste. So I fished paste. And I'm hanging on. I don't know. Maybe I want Iron Peg. Should I have like Luke Bamford next to me or something?
Right.
Luke Bamford?
Yeah, will be.
Paste angler. Mega paste angler. So I fished this paste. This massive, bloody, great big... It flew under. Whack. And he went, So he was getting excited. And I just went through and it whack, whack, whack. I think I finished 5th in that one.
Right, so you come close then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, close. If you call 120, 130 pounds out of 250, but I think I got a default section or something. But I was buzzing after that. After like 5 or 6 qualifiers, getting a final, come 5th, I thought, oh, I'll win it next year, won't I? Natural progression. And it's not like that.
No.
So that was the first one.
What have you, or what's meant the most to you since winning FishOMania? People come on this show and they say that the in thing to say is, and you're going to maybe say the same, is, yeah, it's not the money, it's the title. What's it been for you winning it? What's been the most important part of winning it?
If you're going to, I don't think you can do one thing, say one thing about FishO. It's several things. So if it's your first win, I don't know about the other guys who win serially, but £50,000. do what you want. You go to a Caribbean cruise, whatever.
Yeah.
So I gave some money to my bank runner.
That was Ryan.
Awesome.
Ryan won it.
Guard, yeah, awesome. I got some premium bonds for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're sorting the garden fence out.
How big's your garden?
So the missus said, yeah, it's quite, no, we got, do you know when you got a house and they say this is your boundary, that's your boundary, all 3 boundaries are mine. So we've got like 23 panels, it's going to cost $5,000. So anyway, basically the missus said, if you win FishOMania, not that it shouldn't go at the start of the year. She just said, if you win it, we'll go on holiday, sort that fence out. So that's what we're going to do.
That's a good one, isn't it? What did you do with your 50 grand, Dave, that you won for Fisher? I'd got a new garden fence.
Exciting, it. But the funny thing is, my lad, superstar that he is, if people have watched it and they interviewed him, they said, what would you do with the money? Or what do you think your dad should do with the money? And he said, pay the mortgage off.
Did he really?
He's 9 years old. Has any 9-year-old ever said that?
Never. He knows then, doesn't he? He's switched on.
I think we might be teaching him finances and stuff like that.
You probably are. This is my favourite picture out of all the ones we've got today. Look at that.
Yeah, it's a wicked picture, that.
I think Craig Butterfield took that, you said, didn't he?
Yeah.
What
So Dylan jumped in and I jumped in, obviously. And Isla said, she's only 6, with a little teddy bear there.
Ah.
And she said, next year I want to jump in. It's like, no pressure then. Just go win it so you can jump in.
Got to deliver now.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
That's a magic moment though, mate. That can you know, like the celebrations of it, Dave, getting up on stage and can you remember it all, or does it seem a bit, what's it feel like, that moment in the final?
Otherworldly.
Yeah.
Otherworldly out of body experience.
Is it?
Yeah.
Can't actually recall
so
it
proud.
all.
So proud. And to take my kids up there. So I don't know whether some of the other winners I don't even know if they had the kids there, but my kids were like, they're always supporting me. They've got the little FishO t-shirts that they wear every year.
Yeah.
And it was nice to give something back to them.
Yeah. Awesome.
The lad loved it on stage.
What did your missus say? What did she think? When the moment came that you knew you'd won?
I don't know, actually.
New garden fence.
Yeah, new garden fence. I think she was relieved. Yeah, but she's relieved. She's thinking he might not go for fishing as much now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Might calm down a bit.
Completed it. That's a good one. You and Ryan together.
Yeah.
Are you close to Ryan? Is he a super close mate of yours?
Yeah, he's the closest fishing mate, really, with text and stuff like that. And it was quite... after my dad died 4 years ago, I won't leave him alone. Do you know when you got like messaging people, like he must have thought, oh God, just leave me alone for a while. But I needed a bit of that. I needed because I'd chat to my dad, I'd ring my dad, how's this match gone? You'd have to do like a little rundown.
Yeah.
Text, how have you done, how you've caught and stuff like that. There's nobody to do that with.
Yeah.
So he was there for that.
That's very kind of him though, to sort of...
He's a nice lad, yeah.
Brilliant angler as well.
Yeah.
Your dad a fisherman, Dave?
Yeah.
Is that where you got it from, or...?
Yeah, so he pleasure fished when he was a young lad, and then I must have got to the age of like 10 or 11, and I wasn't playing football anymore. I played for school team or whatever, and I just wanted to do something with my dad. He said, oh, we'll go fishing, son, we'll take you.
And that were it?
That was it, yeah.
Fantastic.
Took me once, and then we just kept on going back and back. But I don't know, looking back on the photographs and stuff, I think I just enjoyed time with my dad.
Well, they'd be very proud of winning this, I'm sure.
Don't know, it'd be worse. He'd be in tears constantly.
Would you really?
Yeah, he's so proud.
Awesome.
He's right, had me back sort of thing. He'd
Fantastic.
sit behind me in the open matches, counting me fish when I was...
There he is, look.
Big T, Tony.
Absolutely awesome. That's a good picture. Where's that?
So that's down at Whiteacres on a little lake at the bottom. It's like a pleasure lake, really, Erie Lake.
I can remember it.
I feel like it used to have some big fish in there, but it also had like bars and snags and that.
Yeah.
So, not bars and snacks to eat, like gravel bars and loads of snags. So they weren't easy to get out, but there's a couple of lumps there.
Blooming great photo, that is.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Did you know that you'd won, Dave, in the final? Like,
no.
So end of the match, and obviously you'd had the half-hour weigh-ins, etc. Was there a point where you thought, I've got enough here to win?
I didn't dare. I'm not a half glass, half empty. Well, I'm not negative, but I think it's just like, do you really want to get yourself hyped up to not win? Hang on a minute.
But you must have a default in your mind that's almost making you not get hyped up, so you must be thinking about it underneath somehow.
Yeah.
Weird, isn't it?
Can't put into words. So I'm not going to be like celebrating. I couldn't do it to myself mentally. I've won it, and then you find out how wrong he's beaten by 5 kilos or something. You'd be gutted. So I just held it back in a bit, and then people was because I said to Ryan like the previous year I wasn't doing so well, and he was like, "Oh, so and so's catching here, so and so," and when it's not going well on your match, you're like, it sort of broke me a bit, did that. And on this one, I said, "Don't tell me," but
what as in, don't tell me other people are
I
catching.
don't want to know if anyone's got a run. So you could hear it when Bennett was catching behind us. People were saying, "Oh, Bennett's on the run," because you're getting more reporters around there, more, the camera crews are going around. You can just hear it all, the buzz around Andy Bennett, and you don't really get nervous, but you're just like, I don't need to hear it. I just want to fish my match. If you never heard a thing, you just fish your match and catch as many fish as you can. It could interfere with your match or your plan. You could force it, you could change it, you could do something you wouldn't want to do. And I think that's what a lot of, club anglers, when they get into the opens, they get affected by what other people are doing. They don't fish their own match. And I didn't want to do that. I had a good chance. I had an end peg. Didn't want to blow it.
Nice.
I say blow it. I wasn't the favourite. I was something like 10th favourite, 33-1 or something. So I wasn't blowing a best angler on best peg situation. But I thought I had a good chance.
That must like, sorry, I find that really interesting, that, because what you just said there about fishing a normal match, like I see these boys fish regularly on these live matches, and there's a real difference there must be between, say, a standard open and then maybe somebody, I don't know how many times you've been in a FishO final, but then seeing that for the first time, like that must play a real part in your actual angling of all these people here, the cameras, like you just said there, the media buzz around Bennett, like that's all things that you wouldn't have to deal with on a normal match. And I mean, it sounds like it obviously didn't for you, but is there a possibility that could really throw somebody's game?
I think that phases a lot of people. You might get 25 people in the final, half and not been there before.
That's what I mean. So
might be very good anglers, but honestly, sometimes it can really do, pressure can do strange things.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Expectation.
Do you feel nerves and stuff in that kind of event, Dave? Does it affect you? Did it affect you?
Yes and no. Because they're very close, I think. Being nervous and anxious and excited. How do you separate those feelings? You need that excitement to get the adrenaline going so you do feel a bit nervous at the start. But once you get into your fishing like world champs, you must be like, not nervous, but like you just want to start the match, don't you?
Yeah.
You want to catch your first fish. So I set off, caught my first fish, scoop, carp, bosh, and you're like, settle down.
I mean,
that's like 50% of your nerves have gone straight away.
Yeah.
Not blanking.
That must be applicable to a lot of sports. I mean, you do jiu-jitsu, Tobe, at a good level. Like, for me, if I knew I was going to fight someone, I'd be absolutely bricking it, me.
It is like that. Like, I had competitions early in the year. I've got one in a couple of weeks as well. And it is. Like, I lit my first one. It was the first time I've done it in a few years at that level. And the nerves totally took over, and that's why I alluded to it there. It threw my game totally out the window.
You couldn't think.
You can't think.
You go on instinct, and like jiu-jitsu is technique.
Yeah,
you
that's
can't,
it.
You can't overpower somebody with like, just lean on a bit harder.
You got it there, and it wasn't till the second half of the day, and like you said, something needs to happen that gets rid of the bulk of the nerves. And for me, it was a takedown into a good position. I thought,
I can do it.
I'm good
me.
here. That's me. I got it here and I'm good. And then the rest of the day went from there. So I think it's the same across all. I mean, that's why we do sport, isn't it?
Yeah,
in any
sport.
Is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I think? I think people who are very nervous at the start, they get halfway through the match and they'll be out of it. And then they get confident because they can't do anything wrong then. And then they fish a brilliant second half of the match. They go, I nailed it second half.
Got nothing to lose.
They're so nervous that they sort of like took 2 hours off the match.
Yeah.
And then they fished a blind in the last 3 hours. And you think, they could have done that at the start for 5 hours.
But I guess that being in a few of the finals or being in a few finals gives you that experience, and then you can sort of work on it. And surely,
Don't know. I had a bloody nightmare the year before.
why? What happened?
Wheels fell off. So, you won't have been there, but it was back end of July. Should be nice and warm, and it was 12 degrees, 30-mile-an-hour crosswinds, heavy rain. That's like winter weather. That's got to change how the fish are feeding. And I got it wrong. Plain and simple, got it wrong. Ended up like 4th from last. Halfway through, I thought, if I could just pack my gear away now and go, I would do. Really, really bad. That's as bad as I've felt. If it's an open, you say, oh, peg was crap, or I didn't fish a good match. It's a final. You've been travelling all these miles and you get to a final and you've been a right mess of it.
But it's going to happen. That is going to happen.
Shows, though, I've come back and I've won.
Exactly.
After doing something like that. So I must have rectified it, in my mind afterwards. Must have said that, put it behind you.
It's experience, isn't it? Experience is massive.
Good and bad.
Sport.
Experience is better than no experience, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
Giving it a try, going out there, having a bad match.
Talking about FishO, and it'd be good to get this from you. Obviously, there was some controversy, debate about the weighing in, and they had to have a reweigh, I understand.
Yeah.
Loads of people have said to me since it happened, what did you think to what I went off at FishO? And I said, you know what? I haven't watched it.
No.
I'm not sure what happened. Like, what actually happened, Dave? Give us the story on that.
So, at the end, they were weighing me. I happened to be the last one, so I'm peg 25. It's odd numbers. I had my own set of scales, really, the way it worked out. So, as it went round, following the right order, and I was the last to weigh. I think I was anyway. I suppose they're all doing it at the same time, actually, but it seemed late on. And they weighed my net my last half an hour. And they put it on the scales, and then it was on the scales, and the fellow was weighing and said, it's not working, He was going to take the net off, and then he went, oh, no, it's working. And then he started reading out the number, and then like 2 seconds later it changed and it sat. So these scales, they go up and down, they go like 1, 5, 6, 8, whatever, and then they settle, and then they get near to the level, and you think, oh, it's settled, and then it hasn't settled. And then you look for the number that holds for 5 seconds, and that's your reading. You have to be patient with it. And I think the Sky TV was looking at the weigh scales. It's like trying to look at an LCD watch from an angle. You can't see, can you? So they were looking, they saw the numbers coming up, and then they went, he started calling it, and then they went, oh, and they looked away. And then he corrected it and said it was this. But Sky actually got a still of the one. So I think, what was it now? Something like 7 kilos, 200, but it ended up being 7 kilos, 400. And they've got a still of the second official weigh. But people at home were saying, like, I've seen it on Sky, it's like 7,200. So they were saying I'd lost it by 100 grams. Kieran's won it by 100 grams. Reweigh, you need a reweigh. And obviously they're contacting Gary Rogers and Kieran and saying, like, you need to reweigh with this. And that's, well, it's really quite a complicated scenario. That must have been lots of chatting with the Emily and James Lewis. Yeah. And eventually it's the only thing they could do to satisfy the public and the anglers. To reweigh. And did they reweigh all your fish? Yeah. So what you do is you have your 10 weigh-ins every half an hour, don't you? And then you have retaining nets. And you try and split them equally. So they went and they did Kieran's, his 2-weigh. Well, even then, when they did the reweighs, they found like one of the scales, the battery had gone in it, so they had to replace that. So it shows how many things can throw a spanner in the works. So reweighed, and he was something like 2 kilos lighter
than what he'd weighed during the match.
Yeah. So he went from like 45 or 44 to 42, and I'd walked around just as he was finishing that second net, and I was like, blimey. But everyone was saying, like, there's water in the nets, 10 weighs, that there's going to be discrepancies, isn't there? Yeah, 2 kilos, though, flipping heck. It's a lot of water, That's bad, isn't it? Listen to this. Yeah. So Jimmy Brooks next door, reweighed him like 4.5, 5 kilos less. How's that happen? So he weighed 43 and ended up 43, 44, and he ended up weighing like 39 or something. It was like, what the?
How?
Don't
How
know.
can it happen?
Don't know. I think he had the same like he was next to him, so I think it was the same guys weighing in Kieran as him. So you would have thought the technique would be the same, the scales would be the same.
Does everyone weigh in on the same set of scales?
Not the same set, but you've had like 25 anglers. You might have 6 groups weighing 4 anglers each.
Right.
I can't remember actually, but they had loads of sets. Maybe it's even 12 sets.
You know, like
doing them in pairs. Maybe they did them in pairs. I can't remember. And I was on my own, 25th angler. So I had an angling trust fella to myself and a set of scales.
Right. Because you know, like in a World Champs, they weigh in and the whole section, so that the match is based on section points. So the whole section is weighed in on the same set of scales. And do you know if the batteries in the scales fail halfway along,
Have to reweigh
they take the batteries out, put new ones in, go back to the start and reweigh the whole section.
Brilliant.
That's how it should be.
It's a world championship.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
Nobody gives a toss if they arrive half an hour later home.
No.
They want to know if they get beat by 25 grams or something.
Well, to me, that's difficult there, because first question I've got, how much, you mentioned water and that being a factor. Is that a factor in weighing it like in? How much extra weight?
Not 2 kilo of water.
What half
I
a
think
kilo?
so.
I don't know.
Do you think it is?
So what's 2 kilo divided by 10? 200 grams. What's that? Like a coffee cup is 250. So that much water in a net, that's easy to be in a net.
Over 10 ways.
To be either in a net or out of a net.
Not 5 kilo, Jimmy Brooks though, or whatever.
Oh no, that's like that's a pint of water extra. That's a decent
£10
fish.
difference, isn't it? 5 kilos of water.
Don't
So there's
know.
something not right.
Don't
But
know. You can get the plastic nets, can't you? Like they have at Lindholm. They're like the whatever.
like a brick bucket almost, aren't they? Or whatever they are.
I don't know they hold water, but you drain holes in. You do soak it at the start. There's only so much soaking that's going to take versus you've ate the net bags. It's like having a t-shirt, isn't it? It's like it's pure fabric and it drains and drains. You can see it dripping out. You know, when you're weighing, you're like, just call it now. Wait 3 minutes and it weighs 6 ounces less.
So what happened? Jimmy Brooks has weighed 4.5 kilo less than he did.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's like, bloody hell. And I'm thinking, well,
And who was winning after the first weigh?
me.
So when it had all finished,
Me.
you were the winner.
I was the winner.
Okay. And then they've gone, right, we're going to re-weigh.
Yeah, like you son of a
How that must have been.
world champs. You're
You've
world
won world
champion,
champion.
Matt. We're just about to interview you, Matt. You're world champion. Just about to go. No, actually, I think they did an interview with me. And then they went, hang on, Matt.
We need a
We
re-weigh.
need a re-weight. And you're like, why? Why?
Yeah, Dave.
Why?
Dave, you've just won FishOMania, £50,000.
Yeah.
1 second. Oh, no, you've not. We're going to re-weigh you just to make sure. How did that feel?
Well, I didn't even think they were going to re-weigh. I thought they were going to do the maths. So I was like, do you mean you're going to check the maths again? Check that? No. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no.
That's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
You're not going to say, gosh, go for it. Yeah, tell you what. And if it don't go my way, I'm not bothered. It's only 50 grand and a trophy, innit?
the biggest trophy.
Yeah.
What did you say? How did you feel?
I walked up and down really angry. Putting my gear away in a like a grump.
You must have felt sick.
I did. I felt really all right. Yeah, I felt absolutely like.
So what happened?
So they obviously came round to mine. I was the very last of the 3 to weigh. And so I've got my 2 retaining nets that I'm doing this. I'm putting my fish in there. Because everyone else has handled your fish all day. They picked them out, put them on the scales. I'm like, I'm doing this. Take the lining net, sticks off, bank sticks off. And then you're sort of looking at me like, right, press the button. Because there is water weight in there. Don't know. So I want to take my fish, put it in there and get it weighed as soon as possible. Because that's what everyone else does. I don't want to sit there, all the water drains out, have a mess about for 5 minutes. So I've sort of scooped the first net, put that on. It's gone like 24 kilos. Honestly, I couldn't do 2 + 2 at the time. So I'm like, what do I need? 24 kilos, right. And I've no idea what's in each net. didn't really matter. So I pull the second net out, and there's people, it's not enough. It is enough. It's not enough. When I'm walking up with the net, and I tipped it on, and he went straight away, boom, straight on the scales, and it went like, this time I didn't know what I needed. A normal person can add. You've got 24 kilos and you need 44. What's that? 20 kilos you need.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't do the maths. Can somebody tell me? And I was like, I think they said you need like 19 kilos, 100 or something. And it tipped it on. And then these digital scales, like I say, they go up and down, but they might go like 1 kilo, 25, 2, 10, 9, 8. And it was like hovering between 19 and 20, like going up and down. A fish goes...
Making me feel sick listening, Dave.
The fish goes like that, doesn't it? And it weighs another kilo, and then it settles down, and then the water's draining off, and you're like, just settle quick at a good weight. And then it leveled up. Well, it was 19, 20 kilos. Then I think it ended up at 21 kilos. And I looked, and I thought, I think I've done enough. But like everyone, you knew you'd done enough because it went, so everyone started screaming. You were like, oh my God.
Well, that's kind of good because you've kind of won it twice in a day, haven't you?
That's what they said. The first bloke to win it twice in a day.
Yeah. Oh, well done, mate.
Fair play. Yeah,
Positive
congratulations.
Digital scales so annoy me. Like, my opinion, but I just think you cannot beat a set of good dial scales where you put
but they
your fish
move
on.
as well, don't they?
They do, but if you waited...
And you have to read them. You actually, like a notch, if it doesn't go to like those scales go to, 5 grams?
Yeah.
So you haven't got that amount of numbers on a dial scale, so you've still got interpretation on there. Is it 27 pounds 5 ounce or 27 pounds 6 ounces?
I've always thought that at these live matches when they bring the dial scales round, I can't.
It's a call.
Like, I don't know how I'm looking at them going, well, I don't know how you got that. Digital scales
It is what it says.
It is what it says.
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it?
If you're 100 grams apart, 10 ways, analog scales, I can't see it. I don't want it. Because all you need is somebody being like, oh, I like this angle. I'll just be a bit generous.
Give the extra cutler.
Not like...
You're right.
But
you're
not
right.
like, as in he's give you some money and you're corrupt or anything. But just like, oh, I really like him. So if in doubt, I'll call that 12 ounces, not 10.
Yeah, it's an interpretation.
You can't help it.
No.
If you like somebody
Whereas
or respect them.
a digital set that goes beep.
And it goes beep and it's 7 kilos 500. You go, I like somebody, but that's 7 kilos 500.
Yeah,
It's
it's what it
settled
is.
on it. So I like the answer. I like the answer. You get the fact.
Are they digital at the World Champs?
They are, but they weigh to 1 gram.
Oh, wow.
So, and
Yeah.
I don't know what they are, but they're a big, massive...
Lee Carey's done a blog, hasn't he? Not a blog, for his Edge, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
and he
about
said
it.
about it averages up. It's not just like at that moment it's 7 kilos 500. I think sometimes they're saying like it takes an average over 10 seconds.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But I don't even like that.
Because if
I
a
see
fish
that.
flicks its tail, like you said...
Or if the bag's leaning against something.
Can't be, can it? That's something that should be...
Can be, and it leans against a leg. Or if somebody's holding it, like, nobody's perfect. They're like, oh, we don't want this to be on the leg. So they start holding it and pushing it. So they're putting weight on or taking weight off.
I find it such a frustrating part of match fishing.
But it's a skill in itself. And I think you've got to respect the guys who weigh in and what they do. And good people who weigh in who've done it many, many times. There is an art to it.
Yeah. I've got a lot of respect for fisheries and matches where they weigh in properly and you feel like you've been weighed in properly. And I'll use Allcroft as an example where I fish a lot in winter.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
They have a tripod, really good set of scales, and Lee and Will who weigh you in there. Even if you've only got £8 in the middle of winter, they weigh your fish, they put them on the scales and they study it and they wait for everything to stop and they're like £8.5. And you are just really confident that
yeah.
But I just think, hang on a minute, never mind in a FishO final, just an open match, been to work all week, got me kit ready all week, been to tackle shop, bought me bait, travelled to the venue, had 5 hours grafting me nuts off to catch what I've caught, but then some slack person who I don't really know and doesn't really care about what I've been doing just goes 42.12. I'm like, is it 42.12 or is it you know what I mean?
And then you get beat, somebody's got 42-13.
Exactly.
And you're like, did you
I'm
read that right?
right. I've got a right bee in my bonnet about bin weighed in properly.
Football, would you have like VAR and they go, oh, we just got cleaner in the room looking at VAR, and he says, yeah, it looks about right, that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is, though, isn't it?
I mean, last season that was pretty accurate. To be fair, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But this is FishO final, £50,000.
Yeah, I know.
But
What
you
can
wouldn't.
you do though?
You can't.
You're a little minion and you're a little cog in the wheel, aren't you?
Yeah.
Will they look at after what's happened? Will they look at that and make any changes?
I would have thought so. I would have thought that's going to be Angling Trust, isn't it? But also Matchroom are going to be very keen on that because that cost them an extra half an hour on TV.
I mean,
probably good TV from a fisherman's point of view, but the costs of like the paying for adverts that's run over on a main channel on Sky Sports by half an hour.
Be expensive
for a technical error.
Yeah, you don't.
No,
think
they're doing
about
like
that side of
F1
it.
and stuff like that, but come on, F1, £1 billion industry, isn't it? This is fishing. Taking an extra half hour, that's a big thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. Nice one to win, though. Very nice one to win. How did you go about it tactically, Dave? The final. Tell me a little bit about the fishing and how you fished, what you caught.
So it's one of those venues where it's quite technical, to be honest. And I didn't realise that people said, like, when I've described something and they're saying, bloody hell, it is. It's faffy, it's technical, it's this, it's that. So I had too long to set up. So you give me 4 hours and I'll set up for 4 hours. I don't know, you get like Harry Bignell will rock up an hour before, set up what he needs and then go for a walk. I'm still faffing. They were taking the mick out of me setting up. Sticky Chris Ryder was like, God, Dave, what are you doing? I was like, up and down, trimming the reeds. I trimmed the reeds 6-7 times. Just so a setup. Do you want to go through actually what I did, like the setup and the
tell me how you fished the match. What did you? What lines did you fish? And I don't know. I've not spoken to you about it on purpose because I want to hear it. But
so I plumbed up all my lines and everything. I don't know if I should run through the match.
Yeah, tell me.
Because be easier that way. So I've started in my right hand edge. I put my nets down to my right. I've got spare peg either side. The only man on the match with a spare peg either side.
Nice.
So spare peg to my left. I've got a blocker.
Yeah.
There's a lass on the end. I've forgotten her name now. Lovely lass there. So I've got a spare peg there. So I'm the only one who can choose where I put my nets.
Got you.
Give myself a peg. Well, it's quite common sense really, because I had Matty Dawes to my right, spare peg between us, and there was a jetty out there. They built a jetty for the cameraman, so you're not going to be fishing under the cameraman's feet, are you?
No.
So I put my nets there. Further along, say like, I don't know, 9 meters away, and then I plumbed up an edge line about 5-6 meters away, tight in like 19 inches, and that's where I started. I had 9 kilos in the first half an hour.
That's a good start, isn't it?
Yeah.
£20 in half an hour.
Yeah.
Carp or F1s?
I can't remember. I think they're F1s.
Nice.
I think they're F1s. You want the carp though, because they weigh twice as much.
Right.
But I don't. That's 6-7 fish, so it was going well. That was a great start. And
what did you fish bait wise there?
So that was micros, a tiny pot of micros. If you put a big kinder pot in, just go crazy. You'd have loads of fish in your swim, but you can't catch them. And that's what it's all about at Westwood. You don't want a million fish in your swim. You want the fish, 2 or 3 to come in, tidy, clean bites. So I've had half an hour there, and then my nets come out, and then so he's walked around my margin line, tipped fish into the net to the other side. So I've binned that off, and I've gone long down my left to the next platform. Exact same rig. Difference with this is you've got a platform. I've gone to the first leg, and there's boards all the way down. The fish can't get behind it. The surface is nice and flat. So you know when you're on like that, and the baits, you put some bait in, it dribbles off. This was flat, so the bait sat on the bottom there, which was perfect for me. Fish had come in. I've got a nice little pile there. And I had a couple there, but I think the problem with that is they were too confident because I was fishing too far away from myself for what I wanted to do. So I'd get too many fish coming in, and I struggled to get fish on the hook doing that. So I did that for a couple of fish.
Still with micros and an expander?
Yeah. You try other stuff, worm or a maggot or whatever. I can't remember whether I tried that or not. But you give it up as a bad job, because that's the one thing about Westwood. If it's going wrong, come off it. Don't persist. Just because there's fish coming in, you could sit all day and catch 20 pound. Whereas the bloke who goes, all right, sod that. I'll come off. I'll start a new line somewhere. I'll come back to it, but I don't need to keep it fed. So then I went long, so like a full section off the far banking. It's basically 29 inches from a top kit to the far banking.
Got you. In depth.
What's that? Yeah. What's that, like 2 foot 5 inches?
Yeah.
That's my peg, 2 foot 5 inches all the way across.
Oh my God, it's very shallow, isn't it?
It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah. Very shallow.
But when we jumped in, we found out why. It's like 2 foot 5 inches silt.
Is it really? Wow. And what happened when you went long?
So I went long, potting some casters in, and I instantly got a response.
What do you mean by potting casters in? That's not really a done thing, is it?
No, try catting them out. Do you know if fish are reacting to the noise and you're pulling fish in? All over the place, scatty as chuff.
Well, that's something that you'd practiced or learnt in practice.
Yeah. You want to sneak them in. You don't want to rattle from a height like sometimes you do with hard pellets. You just want to get it in, get it all plop in one lump.
Yeah.
And then just sit and be patient and
Just
wait.
casters?
Just casters, yeah.
That's
It's
interesting.
not very attractive, is it, really? But if you had a load of micros, imagine that.
Fish would just be too scatty, too much bait.
Chocolate colour. Honestly, it's like a bloody cup of hot chocolate.
Yeah.
So, did that. So, I caught a couple there. Matty Dawes was to my right, and he was catching well, doing that. I thought, I'll be all right, I'll stick on that. And then bite stride, and I thought, I'll replumb to my left a little bit, all that space. And I caught like one barbel there, and I thought, something's not right here. Why aren't I catching these? And I caught in practice doing it. And I don't know something about Matty's peg, but I was there the previous week, and Ben Townsend caught doing that, and he caught really well. Something about that peg which Matty's on that point, can't like to hang on that point, and they didn't want to hang where I was. I've got all that room. In theory, it should be mega. I've got all these fish coming from all that space, and it wasn't. I can't remember what I did next. I think I pushed tight across next, put an extra section on it about 2 inches shallower, right up to the boards. They put these wooden boards and stop the far bank from falling in. Couldn't get a fish, but I'd caught some the week before doing it. Then this is where I start to lose my match a little bit. And I had 4 hours to set up. So I'd set up one at like 15 metres, as far as I could go in my peg, to the left, to find a mud line, which was 22 inches deep. You know, on a bobbly and all sorts. It wasn't right. You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it normally, but I'd set it up and I thought, Bennett's catching on that. I'll go across. I put some bait. I couldn't get any fish on there. I was like, fuck's sake.
Going wrong at this point kind of thing.
This is the thing where you're like, you can either keep on pushing at what you're doing or change. So I plumbed up numerous lines, but there's one line down the track, so it's like 6 metres.
You're on your 5th line here, Dave.
No, I am after an hour.
5th line.
Mega, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's good to hear, because I'm listening to this thinking, he's going to tell me about easiest match of his life, and it's not like that, is it?
No.
Sorry, fifth line.
That's what Ryan said. That's the best match I've ever seen you fish. Literally the best match I've ever seen you fish. You fished brilliantly there. I was like,
keep telling me.
So we went down the track. You can do a bit of throwing there because it's shorter. As long as it's not too windy. I had the wind off my back, so it was accurate. I could throw in. I mean, we'd all like to land it on a space like the size of my FishO trophy, won't we? You know, right round your float.
Like you watch Bennett do it every time.
Yeah, you do. I just nonchalantly flicks it out and you go, all right, yeah. And you do it and it goes to the left, to the right, beyond.
Yeah, I'm glad you do as well, because mine goes everywhere.
And then when you get giddy, it goes even worse, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, I can't remember that. I think I potted some and I threw some.
Casters,
yeah. So you don't want it to be too attractive, but you want them to eat the bait. So you can't. Pellets didn't work as well in practice. Micros, it's just too much. You're bringing too many fish in. It's chaos. So you throw in, and I start to get 1 or 2, but like straight away. And you're like, boom.
Are you fishing on the bottom here?
On the bottom here, yeah.
With what on the hook?
Like a wormhead or 3 maggots. But the thing is, the fish come in. This is ridiculous. I had a video of it, comes in and it's like a jacuzzi, it goes, but there's all these frigging bubbles coming up and all the silt just comes up.
Because it's so shallow, you can see it all.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh my God, how am I going to get a bite in this? And you get loads of indications. You get fish coming in like that deep, like, and they're not feeding. And that's when people go shallow. They go slap, slap, and it'll be ages. They'll be like, they'll fish and they'll catch them straight away. And they don't realise they sat on that shallow line for 10 minutes without a bite. And it seems better on the deck. Yeah, you get odd foul hookers, but if you can just be patient and try and read your bites, whack, proper, quick bites, strike at those. But the thing is, you can't sit on that for 5 hours. So you've got to come off that. So I had another line. This is what you're working out with your bank runner and their experience. Like Ryan's mega at Westwood. He's mega everywhere. Ryan Lidgard. Says like a shorter line. So you're like short kick, short 4 and a 5. And you said and you'd fish that diagonally. So you wouldn't fish the margins, you just come out the margins where maybe the bottom's a little bit harder than the track. But you still got a bit of silt there. And it's just trying to keep things tidy. Can't emphasise how important it is. Just keep it tidy and neat. And you'll get your wait, hook one. Great. And you'll only get 2 or 3 fish off a line, and you have to move it, because by that point all your bait's adding up on the bottom, isn't it? And the fish are coming and spooking out, and you sat there, they're like a busy fool, feed, nothing. Come off that line, go back down the track, go back down the edge, go back down the track. And then I think it was an hour and a half to go. I started cycling 3 lines then. I'd binned off that right hand edge where my nets were, and I got that 12 metres to my left. I'd got, that whatever 4 metre line diagonally and then 6 metres down the middle. And I'm cycling those through, going round and round, picking it. But it's nice though.
What, like 1 or 2 fish off a line and
1
move?
fish, 2 fish, 3 fish, great. And in the past, you could catch carp on those, like 3 and 4 pounders. But I was catching F1s. So it was okay, but it wasn't like running away with it. And then that long edge line got better. So the fish started coming and having a feed. I don't know what it was. I know they all say time of day, but I didn't want it to be time of day. I didn't want lots of fish coming in. I wanted 1 fish coming in, find my bait, nice and relaxed, come in. And it did get better towards the end. Without rushing on to the final half an hour, I think I had we could talk about the weights really. So the first half an hour was 9 kilos. The next was 4. And the middle weighing 3 and 4 and 5. There was 2 weigh-ins where I had 1 fish.
Wow.
And that's from when I binned off the long lines and came back to the middle. So weighing 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 started to get better. And the last 2 weigh-ins, I weighed 7 kilos a piece, which is massive on there. If you do that, what's 10 times 7 kilos, 70 kilos. So you're having a good run. But to tell me if I'm going mixed up here, because I find I get distracted with this sort of stuff, trying to explain it. It's so complicated. So I'm fishing down that edge at 12 metres, and the fish are coming in a bit better. And that last half an hour was a dream.
On the 12 metres line?
Yeah. What do you want to do? You want to ship out. You're 12, bear in mind, I'm 12 metres, and Kieran's fishing 5 metres. I don't know this. Jimmy's fishing 5 metres, hooking carp. It's not as fast as 12 metres is a lot slower, isn't it? But I'd go in, and I'd be I watched the video afterwards. I watched it, and it was they've got 4 of us on a screen. It's Dave's got another one. Dave's got another one. And it was just mint. I'd go in, and you'd have to wait, and then float a bob, and then you get one. It'd go berserk. It'd fly off like the foul hooked.
Yeah.
They weren't always foul hooked. You get that one in. And then you'd think, it'd be nice if that went under again. Ship out. Nice and really patient. Make sure you put your bait in right. Not if you drop your pole or whatever, or splash it or rattle your bait in, a fish will come straight up. And it felt like the F1s were coming and smashing your bait. You've got 19 inches. Put your bait in here. Within half a second, bang, you've got indications on your float.
They're eating it on the way down.
Don't want that, do you?
No.
What's your pile like? It's not a pile, it's discarded pellets everywhere. You can't hunt. So you're trying to sneak it in. And what you want is nothing on your float for 10, 15, 30 seconds, and then a dink.
You know that all your bait's gone down in a
and
nice
it's a trap. It's sat, your little hook bait sat in the trap. If you go in straight away and within, you're not straight in your rig out and there's like a bow wave, you're like, oh, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And then you can be tempted in coming back in, feeding again, feeding. You can repeat the process and make it even worse, more feed in there. What do you do? So that was the last half an hour. It was I think I had 7 fish in the last half an hour.
Lovely, clean fishing.
Just like, I needed this. This is what I need. And then with 2 minutes to go, I fouled up to fish, pulled out, caught the fucking, swearing again, sorry.
Don't matter.
Caught the...
You're allowed to swear on podcast. Sound. Toby decided to do it about 3 seconds into first ever one.
Never let me let
Drop
that
the
out,
F-bomb out, didn't he? But now everyone does it. He sort of set the tone.
Your mum told me off, didn't she?
Yeah, my mum were like, yeah, great, that podcast, but that guy swore.
Filthy mouth, potty mouth.
Yeah. I like, mum, the people will swear on the show, don't worry. Go on, sorry, you pulled out one. And you said, oh dear me.
Oh dear me. And it hooked the platform.
Oh no. In the edge?
Hooked the platform. I'd just given my mate, Ryan, me a little stopwatch, said, keep an eye on that time. Pulled out, up to there, like, fuck. I hadn't even got any pole behind me, so I can't leave that on the banking and get my short pole out and fish there. I've got 2 minutes left. Got off up the box. Ran down. Everyone's like, what's he doing? Ran down, unhooked it, and then we still got, so I like put the rig on the platform, ran back, nearly fell up, slipped. When I got back, I was like, nearly slipped and went through a load of my gear, jumped back on my box, got the pole back. And I've seen the afterwards, like Steve Cook saying, just go back in, Dave, he's bank runner, should be telling him to go back. I didn't, I came back, put some bait in, and about 50 seconds at most fishing, I didn't get another fish. And like Steve's like, that could affect him, that. You know, that could cost him the match. And in my head I was thinking, that could cost me the match.
Oh my God. But it didn't.
No, it didn't.
How much did you actually win by?
So, I won by 100 grams.
No! So
That's
close.
a little skimmer, isn't it? What's 100 grams? 4 ounces?
100 gram.
That was it, mate.
50 grand, 100 grams.
Wow.
I know.
That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. Is that the closest ever?
Yeah. But I tell you what, 2 years before, so Art Hilmy, do you remember that one where he was smashing it? He was just shallow fishing. Bennett's next to him, can't catch shallow fish. Art's bagging up. Christian's keeping it under the radar massively.
Yeah.
And who was it? Is it Andy Dyson on the end? Peg one. He's fishing. So anyway, Art's won it. Everyone says he's won it. Loads of noise. At the weigh-in, he went into, I think he finished third, didn't he? And he was 400 grams off Christian. That's top 3, 400 grams. What would have happened if they had a reweigh then?
It just shows though all them little decisions. What's interesting listening to your match though, Dave, it's not a plain sailing caught one steady away all day. Like you've had wobbly times in the match.
It's not a big enough final, is it?
No. When Harry won it,
smashed it,
Ayfield
absolutely obliterated everybody, and after 2 hours he'd probably won it.
Exactly. Whereas you listen to yours and like
everything
tried
rested
across
on 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, you haven't won it.
But it's nice to know that, especially for someone, not even necessarily in a big final, but just in their own matches, that even though you're winning, doesn't go right the whole way through the match. There's lots of things go wrong. You have to change. The fact that you've not just, people often think match win, found the right line, sat and fished it. You've rotated them 3 throughout and kept ticking over it.
I've got like 7 lines in total.
Ridiculous. But
too many. It's definitely too many. What would Bennett do? He wouldn't do that, would he?
It don't matter though, you've won.
No, but then it's like you get into that point in your fishing where you don't do that and you're making good decisions from the start. Or if you do make a bad decision, don't stick with it because you feel you've made that decision. You have to try and make it work.
God, you're making me the nerve when I actually think about how close it actually was,
and with the reweigh
I'm like, that must have been an intense little time. Yeah,
it's the thing you've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
I know we have like careers and that, but you fish and you do that for pleasure. You choose to do that. You choose to go out your way. You choose to get up at 5 a.m, travel down to Larford or whatever.
Yeah,
there's a lot of work goes into it.
Well, you've done it, mate, so congratulations. Just had a tea break. Recording.
Yeah.
Back on. Dave wanted a cup of tea because he's from Yorkshire, folks. Rimmer, one of our cameramen, asked me. He's going filming with Bennett at Western Pools on Friday. And he texted me saying, can you send me the number for Western Pools so that I can book us in?
Yeah.
So I Googled Pulse and Cocktails.
You say Googled it, yeah?
Yeah.
You didn't have it already?
No, I might have done, but you know. And I got the number for the sex shop near my house. And I sent it to him, and he's put, I think you've given me the wrong number for Western. And I put, I sent you Pulse and Cocktails. He put, you swear word. Yeah. I've been ringing it religiously. Is that a sex shop? And then I put, yes, lol. He put, She was confused when I asked if Jack's pool was free on Friday.
Oh, dear.
That's good, that.
Sorry, Rimmer.
Poor old Rim.
What do you reckon to Toby's tea, Dave?
His techniques leaves a lot to be desired.
Go on.
I had to stop him because if you do this in Yorkshire, you can't have tea again. So he's put the hot water in, and then he's reached for the milk.
While the bag's still in?
While the bag's still in. Not even 10 seconds after the hot water's got in. No. And he started pointing. Whoa! Got to leave it.
I thought that was it. I was like, I could definitely tell you're up north. I'm just there bringing it out, like no care in the tea's like. But we say, wouldn't it? It is better if you do. You should
not put a tea bag in the bin that's covered in milk because you made the tea wrong. You put the milk in, you take the tea bag out, and then you put the milk in.
What about a teapot?
Don't put milk in a teapot, do you?
No, but should you use a teapot? My mum will only drink tea that's out of a teapot.
You should if you like gallons of tea.
Yeah.
It is better. We were saying, like, you got little ones, you go and make like a brew, and then they're off drawing on the wall or something like that. You have to go and sort them out, come back, your tea bag's been in there 5 minutes. It's the best cup of tea.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's almost like there's an oil on the top of you, on the water.
Like a slick.
Like a slick, and you go, that's good. Yeah, good brew, is that?
Back to fishing. FishOMania, Dave. Having won it, has it changed anything in your fishing? It's not that long ago. It was this summer.
No.
Has your fishing changed at all since winning that big one?
So about like me fishing matches?
Yeah.
Or everything? I don't. I suppose so. So when I'd won it, obviously then I didn't go straight fishing like the next day or anything like that. It must have been 3 or 4 weeks. But when I went, you were still in like a bit of a dream world, to be honest. You're like, not bothered if I win. And you're up against people who want to win. That's an open match for them. And you've gone and you've like, people are shaking your hand. This is the thing, people are shaking your hand saying, well done, amazing. And they're taking you back to the day. So you get distracted. So like that first, you're at the draw, and then you sit on your peg and you think, oh, I forgot I'm fishing a match today. You've gone back to like, you're already distracted. And then when you're fishing the matches, it doesn't seem to matter. It's not, nothing's riding on this, is it?
No.
It's hard to explain, isn't it?
Would you describe it as it spoils you fishing a little bit?
I think so, yeah.
Is it fair to say that?
I tell you what, though, I bet you they'll all say the same. All the lads who do the qualifiers, hunting down the finals, come September when there's no more qualifiers, they're like, the buzz is gone.
Bit of a come down.
It felt similar to that, but on maybe even a bigger scale. But after they've run out of qualifiers and you haven't won it, you're a bit of deflated, whatever. But I've won it, so I'm not deflated. I'm just like, what next?
Must be tough, like having won 50 grand in a big final with the cameras. It was really close, so the adrenaline from that particular fishing match is as high as it's ever going to be.
Never going to get better, is it? Even if I won it again, the first one, I think. I say even if I won again.
When?
When. Oh, sorry, go on then. Yeah, got more confidence than I have. But you win your first, you can't beat your first one, can you?
So
savour it.
If I feel a bit sad in asking you, is it a bit of a come down, or is it a bit spoiled? Are you a bit spoiled then going to fish an open? But it probably is the truth when I listen to you.
I don't feel like I want to be big-headed because that's not fair. You're going on an open and you're still an open angler. They're still fishing opens. It's no different. You don't deserve anything extra. You've got to go and you've still got to fish a good match, haven't you? It is different, but recently it's got better. Don't know why. Maybe you can park that. You can park the trophy, and you go, just going to fish an open match today. It's not about anything else, and you can enjoy it again. And it's nice that I can do that, because I know, like, I think people have messaged me before. Not people who have won it, but people who have been in a final. I think one guy, I can't remember his name now. Didn't know him, but he messaged me and said, yeah, I didn't go fishing for 12 years after got into a final. All that, you know, like bells and whistles and all that attraction. And then it's just like, I don't know if he had a bad final or what, and he didn't fish for 12 years.
Can you relate it? I always sort of try and relate it to something else in another world or industry or sector. But say a pop star that's coming up. First time they play in a pub with a lot of people, they get a little buzz. So
That's
singing in front of the mates is never the same. Then they get a bigger gig at a small, small arena or whatever, a few thousand people.
Yeah, I know where you're
going back to singing in a pub is never going to be the same. Then they get invited to Glastonbury main stage. Going back to the local arena's never going to quite be the same. And like,
it won't be the same, but like, do you imagine like Coldplay doing like 100,000 seat sellouts? They might want to go back to a pub in Chelmsford or something and like pick the guitar up and have a strum and a pint.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I think it's like in football, it's got to be quite. I mean, not professional footballer, but it's got to be this similar there. Like, imagine playing today in a big final, World Cup final, Champions League final. And even if they win or lose it, you know, next season they've got to come back round. It's like starting again. Like now I'm playing, you know, Ipswich Town away on a Tuesday night or whatever. It's not the same, is it? Than if you were playing in a big European or World Cup final.
Man City dominate it, and then next season Pep goes, "You can forget all that."
Yeah.
First minute, I don't want you let me down in this match. So the pressure's back on for them, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. That's a difference, actually. The manager's putting the pressure back on. I suppose
he's reminding the importance of being up for it. And if you're not up for it, you don't get another contract.
Actually that's really
I do. I've got a contract, so I don't have to be up for it.
But that's interesting because you, like, as anglers, it'd be the same for you, Matt. I imagine you'd have to go and fish your world champs and then coming back and you're jumping on opens and stuff like that, similar experience. But you have to have that drive, don't you? Not got anybody behind you going, come on, Matt.
I don't really fish an open match unless there's an underlying reason to do so. So the few that I'll fish is I might go to Allcroft in winter on an odd Saturday open to practice for like the big teams of 4 league. If I've got something I want to try, I'm going to try feeding more joker this week. I'll go on Saturday, do it, because it doesn't matter if I don't catch. But I'll learn something for Sunday. Or the other time is like I fish the opens at March to practice for Winter League final at River Neen or Lindome in the spring to practice for commercial nash. But one thing I would say is that I think maybe we could talk about is maybe it's all quite relative in fishing. So, for example, you winning FishO, Dave, you get that high, you get that buzz. It's the pinnacle of what you're doing at the time. But that pinnacle for someone else might be winning their Angler of the Year in their club.
Yeah.
Is that high the same for them?
I think it is.
It probably is relatable, isn't it?
If they got 50 grand for winning it, but
but
they've worked all year. They've practiced. They've fished 10, 12 matches. They've, you know, getting points, building up to it. So yeah, that's the pinnacle air season. That's the award ceremony. Somebody I fished clubs and you win Clubman of the Year, whatever, and you're buzzing. So yeah, it's the same type of buzz.
It's all relative, innit, to what's happening in your life.
It's very important to them, and you can't take that away from people. That is.
Yeah, I think that's the magic thing with fishing. There's so many different levels to it.
Yeah.
Especially match fishing. Whether you're a young angler and I'm going to fish my first ever youth national. Like I can remember fishing first ever youth national. I'm nervous as hell. Biggest match I've ever fished. Yeah. And you still, once you pass that, it's like, what's next? What's next?
The big matches, those are, aren't they? They're 200 kids on there, like, wow.
But it's all like I listened to you talk about that FishO and the emotion and the adrenaline that must have been running through you at the time. Like, it's all relative to what's happening there and then, I suppose.
I think for a lot of people it's circumstantial as well, isn't it? So I've heard it before that people try and compare themselves to, say, let's just say Bennett, for example, somebody who fishes a lot more than you could say your average angler, whereas there'll be some people out there that can only go once a week or once every 2 weeks.
That's what I do once a week.
Yeah, which is, so to achieve what you've achieved on once a week is like incredible compared to. So I think that's a good backup to what you were saying there. That I think it is. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. It's
Yeah. You sometimes feel a bit guilty when we sit here talking about you winning Fisho and the buzz that you get, and it's not the same ever again fishing an open. But
for some people, that's it. That open at the weekend is their Fisho.
That is the buzz. That's what I'm trying to
say.
Yeah. And then below an open match,
you don't belittle that sort of stuff, though.
No,
that's exactly what I mean.
Of our.
We're not about that.
No, definitely not.
It's not fair, that.
Which is quite the magical thing about fishing, I suppose. There's so much to it. What's your take on like luck and fate, or are you religious at all, or anything like that, Dave? Do you believe in superstition?
No, I'm a scientist. I want to know facts and figures and why and where.
Right.
But I do believe, saying I don't go to church, but I do believe there is a God.
Do you really?
And I do believe there is fate.
That's interesting. What about you, Tobe? Are you religious?
I wouldn't say I'm religious, but similar to that, I believe there's something. I don't really know what it is, but I just think there's too much that goes on in the world for it to all be a coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I couldn't put my finger on exactly
what it is.
Yeah.
Any superstitions in fishing, Dave, or out like that? Do you have like a routine before you draw, or getting your kit ready, or anything like that?
Superstitions? No, I don't think so. I think one thing, like, if you're the first in the queue, and there's 100 pegs in there and there's 10 flyers, you're putting your hand in, there's 10 flyers in there. Yeah. You go at the end, there might be all crap pegs left. So it's not a superstition, but it's like, sometimes it's not. Sometimes I will leave it till the end. Maybe on an open you might leave it till the end, but on a qualifier I feel like sometimes I just want to get in there, give myself the best chance to draw in a decent peg.
What about you, Matt?
No, I facts and figures wise, I know that the odds are the same, because later in the draw queue there could only be good pegs left, but I am exactly the same. I'd rather be earlier in the draw just for the fact that I know they're all there. Imagine
you rocked up late for 10 matches in a row and you drew stinkers every time because you got the last peg. You'd be like, why did you turn up early? And then they're all in the bag.
This is the thing. If you're first, this is the one thing I'd say, and it's probably complete bollocks to be fair, but if you're first in the bag, the winning peg is in that bag, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're second in, it might not be. If you're first in the bag, the winning peg's in there.
How many times have you seen it on a qualifier and somebody pulls out the first peg and they're like, peg 6 Allcroft, peg 6 outer Allcroft.
Done. Just want to go on it.
What we're doing here, lads? What we're doing here, lads? What are you stopping?
Yeah.
Is there anybody that you know of that is the opposite, likes to be last, or likes to?
Loads of people do. Loads of people do. They hang right off. Some people won't even draw, and they'll be like, "You draw, no, you draw."
Really?
It's like a standoff. But like, I need more time to set up. I'm a faffer, and like Lindholm draw, you get like draw fishing an hour later. I can't wait an extra 10 minutes whilst so-and-so turns up because he's just gone for a poo.
Yeah.
So there's like a standoff sometimes. No, you have it. No, you have it.
I've seen
and then
it.
like they'll pull the pegs out and they go, there's peg 15 on Laurels or peg 22, and you're like, 15. And they put them back in. They go, which do you want? And you go, oh, well, I'll have to draw then. You pick out 22 and you're like, fuck's sake.
Left the flyer in there.
Matt sat on his ass there. Why don't you go first?
I'd like to put that out there to everyone listening. I'd be interested to see.
Yeah.
Would you rather be first or last? Yeah.
Mm.
And it'd be interesting to see what the split
Other thing,
is.
there's another one as well. Do you know when you're in a queue chatting to people, if you had like Jamie behind you, Andy in front, Christian, you're like, how have I managed to get myself in here? Because you want to qualify, but like you're thinking I could end up all of us in the same section. You ruined your match then, haven't you?
Yeah, game over.
I don't want them in my section.
They probably think same. Got Dave Shires in my section.
I don't think they do.
I think they will.
I don't think they do.
Will. Have you? Is fishing something you've always done, Dave, from a young age? I mean, I don't know much about your background in terms of fishing, but
so I suppose young age is like 10, 11. So I'd played football, the local Ossett Sporting Boys. I can't remember much about it, to be honest. And then that lasted a couple of years. And then I just wanted to do something with my dad. So we were on holiday in Lowestoft, which is like on the East Coast, and like Norfolk way or something like that. And he said, I'll take you fishing. I used to go fishing. So I think he got some old gear out, some bloody horrible fiberglass thing, and centre pin reel.
Yeah, don't see them anymore.
Have you ever fished with one?
I have on trotting gear, but not.
You pull a finger off, then 2 fingers off, then 3 fingers off, and you're like this, and then we started off with that. And I think the first trip I had, I went to this lake. I can only remember little bits like a sandy beach and that dead shallow. And the first 2 fish I caught, you're going to name the first fish, have a guess?
Perch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Standard
always
that, innit?
Perch, yeah. And you're like, and I had a towel, you're like, ugh, it's got spikes.
Yeah.
And it's got spikes. And you're like, oh my God, it's going to like impale me. So you had like a towel for like a 2-ounce perch. You were like dealing with it like it was toxic or something, like a tarantula.
Now you just swing them in, grab them, don't even think.
And the second one was an eel.
Never.
Yeah.
Perch and an eel.
Can't hook out on an eel, can you? Can't handle a perch, can't get the hook out on an eel.
Well, obviously enough to hook you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you were in. What about match fishing? When did match fishing start for you?
So me and my dad went pleasure fishing. We had a Wakefield book. There's some lovely waters on Newmiller Dam, Half Moon Lake, Ely Dam. And you go around there. You've got some pictures on that in that book that had my little collection of, and a lot of those were in the early days when we were pleasure fishing. So obviously we had our little trip in Lowestoft, and it just kept taking me to different places, and I really liked it. You'd get angling times, you'd see people in there with big fish, you're like, I can catch some fish, I know where there's, and then you're like, I know where there's some tench. Oh, what's the record? You get a Wakefield book, and in it says like record tench £9.5, and you're like, what, Wakefield, I'm going to go catch that. And as a kid, I was really determined as a kid. And my dad I'd fish for 12 hours. We'd go down, you've got to go down early, haven't you? In summer, you catch tench when it's dawn, don't you?
Apparently.
Yeah, if you can get down there, yeah. And then obviously you catch them when it's dusk. So I'd want a bite of both cherries. Then catch nothing for 10 hours. But sometimes he'd bugger off. He'd leave me fishing. He said, I'm just going to nip, do you want some food? And I'm like, all right, yeah. And you go get McDonald's or something. Come back 3 hours later. Where you been? Oh, I went to the pub. So I'd like 2 or 3 pints, get McDonald's, come back, and I'd still be fishing.
Look at retro Dave Shires just there. Daiwa cat, Puma joggers, little tench.
How cool am I there? Look at the ice, the glasses I like. They're back in now, you know.
You look so much like your young'un there.
Yeah.
What's he called, your lad?
Dylan.
You look double a Dylan there. Look at that. That's ridiculous. Yeah. You know, you look at that and then you look at the FishO picture where he's on stage. You look so similar, mate.
Poor Dylan.
I know. Such an unfortunate thing for him, isn't it? And what about match fishing? Remember your first match or anything like that?
I don't actually. I don't remember my first match because I don't think it probably went that well. But so Wakefield Angling Club, they've got a junior section, and Frank Wright and Derek, it's not with us anymore, but I spoke to Frank Wright the other day. They run a junior section there, and it's got a clubhouse, and it's a dam, not your normal big old dam. It's only, I don't know, maybe 30 metres by 20 metres. Everyone fishes a 16-metre pole. You'll all be on the same spot.
Wow.
You get 10 or a dozen anglers round. And it's like a concrete pond, but full of lilies, full of snags. And there's always the elusive big carp in there. And you're going to get that out with single 5 elastic, aren't you? So people would hook it, lose it, hook it, lose it. And there's some skimmers in there. We used to fish matches there. And people used to fish different stuff. There'd be like, one lad would fish bread. One lad would always fish maggot shallow on the waggler. Somebody would fish meat. And you're just learning there. And it was in a nice, safe environment. Like there's fencing around it. And it's just other kids there. So your dad would drop me off. School holidays, drop me off there. Bosh all day. Some money for some chocolate and crisps, whatever. And then they run a little series of matches, junior matches there. And I think I did all right. I didn't pull up any routes. I wasn't like defending champion 10 years in a row or anything like that. There were some really good anglers there, and I was just one of the normal lads, just really keen. So there's a junior, like junior nationals and what have you, isn't there?
Yeah.
So I took a group of us there, take a bus, put us all on a bus. And say I remember this vividly. I don't think I do, but I do remember having a bag of brown crumb and a bag of squats and going on the canal at Thorn.
On Stainer.
Yeah. Fishing these little, what are they, Dren squat floats and stuff like that. I don't know why I fished that. Tiny float.
Did quite a bit of natural style fishing.
That's
then,
all there was then, yeah. So the first really one, we were quite lucky at Woodlands Lakes at Thirsk.
Yeah.
That was the first one in our area. And you could go there and it was like unbelievable.
When you're talking commercial fishing.
Yeah, you're like, pleasure fishing though, and you're catching £100 of carp. You're like, whoa, that's mega, is that?
That must have been when Woodlands literally first opened, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. And what about your fishing now? Do you still do any naturals, or are you mainly commercial based?
No, I don't do any naturals. And it's a shame because I fish for a team and the lads say, I can't believe you're not fishing here like the staying. You're like, well, you're in the same league, aren't you? North East Winter League.
Yeah.
Some mint fishing round, isn't there?
Tons.
I'm Pontefract. I'm right on the canal, aren't I?
And what's your reason for only going commercial fishing? Do you think it gives you some focus, or have you consciously
I ain't got time for it. Imagine I go once a week. How can you do one thing and the other? You'd either have to stop, wouldn't you? You'd have to go natural fishing for 6 months, commercials for 6 months. And it's a lot of time and effort and gear. And I'm a prepper, so I prep a lot for my commercial stuff. I over prep. So you imagine over prepping for that, over prepping for me. Naturals. It's too much.
Would you like to go fishing more than once a week if you had an opportunity to do it?
Sometimes I do if my shift work allows, and it's nice. You get a double, like go Wednesday, Thursday. It's mint. It's lovely. But I can't go twice in a week. I work shifts. I work 2 out of 3 weekends. So I'll have one weekend off. I'll have days on a weekend and late shifts on a weekend. So 2 out of 3 I need to take time off to go fishing, which I will do.
How much of a hindrance, or the opposite end of the scale, benefit do you think it is going once a week? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
But it keeps you keen, doesn't it? But it's hard though. The trends, like with commercial fishing, especially if you go up to like the Oaks, it is just really competitive, and it's just the moods of it. You can come one week and it's meat, and the next week it's maggots, and the next week it's casters. But if you were going every week, you might suss it. But my rest days don't always allow that. So it might be 2 or 3 weeks, or I might have a qualifier. I dot and dash about in different places. They see me at the Oaks. It's funny, they see me like before the qualifiers and afterwards. Barnborough, see me in September. They see me popping up at certain times.
You're like a little seasonal piece.
Yeah. Dave's back. It must be this time of year.
Right.
That's what I do.
Interesting.
When the qualifiers are finished or before they started.
What from people listening's point of view though, with how often you go fishing, it's very relatable for a wide number of people. A lot of people go fishing.
I think people go fishing more than me. Generally, I think there's a hell of a lot of matchmen out Saturday, Sunday every week.
A lot.
And
there's a lot that maybe do go once a week. But what would you say to them as someone who has qualified for quite a few big finals, who I think is a fantastic angler, very consistent as well, and has now won the biggest of big finals, the FishOMania final. What advice would you give to them, that massive audience of people who are probably listening to this show a lot, who can only go one day a week? How do they make the most of that one day that they've got if they want to be where you are and win a big final?
I swear now, be a stubborn bastard.
Yeah?
Be stubborn. Don't give up, because you'll have peaks and troughs, won't you? You're not going to go once a week and win every week. You'll get people who go 5 times a week and win once a week, and everyone goes, wow, they're mega right. They look at them winning everything. You don't. You win like 2 in a month, but you've only been 4 times. Be stubborn. Be persistent. But also have if you can have a good network of friends that will tell you stuff, you tell them stuff. Don't just feed off people and don't give them all back. But keep in touch. Be very open. You're very open with your tactics and your knowledge, and be the same with other people. You win a match and you've got a friend, tell them what you've done, and because you want to know what they've done, don't you? And then the next time you go, you're like a couple of steps on, aren't you? Don't be insular. Don't win a match and keep it secret, not telling anyone. Share a bit.
having won FishO, do you want to pursue fishing more and go more afterwards now, or are you still happy doing what you do within your fishing, Dave?
I'm in limbo time at the moment, so I've got a really good job that pays well and there's pension and everything like that, but I would like to get more involved in fishing. So I don't know, generating income maybe is a bit much, maybe coaching, something like that. Sponsorship would allow you to go fishing more, you don't have the costs associated, but I'd like to get more involved. I always said, like, it's probably a lot of people's dream out there. They do a job because they need the job to pay the mortgage, but if you could do something that would pay the bills as well, fishing related, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Definitely.
I know I'm looking at you, and I'd love to be Matty Godfrey, and they don't see the stress that goes with it. You've got a million things going. They don't pay you to just go fishing and look glamorous in guru gear, do they?
No, but if Adam Rooney's listening and he wants to do that, it is not a problem with me at all.
No, he's stuck with me, I'm afraid.
Do you think sometimes, though, obviously I'm at the other end of the spectrum because I work heavily in fishing, always have. I look at you and think it must be really fresh for you to go to work and do what you do, which we'll touch on shortly, but then be able to completely break away and step into that completely different mindset. I'm going fishing, and like you must have a complete brain flip when you go from your work background to going fishing on your one day a week.
It's like I'm going, and it's cathartic. I'm going, and I get full value out of my fishing. Good, bad. You go fishing, and then you come back and work his fish, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's tricky for you, but you need that. Some people go running, some people go to the gym, some people go drinking, some people go whatever, paragliding or whatever. You need something to focus on, and I find it's brilliant. So whatever you're doing through your life, it's stressful or your ups or downs, you can't tell me if you go on an open and you catch 200 pound of fish and win the open, you feel good for that time. That 5 hours you concentrate, and hopefully the phone's not ringing. That's another thing. You get people who have their own business, the phone's ringing like, and you hear them on the phone, you just think, glad I don't have that. I can leave my phone. Mrs. might send me a message, but I don't get bored. I don't get mine. I got 5 hours, and I concentrate that hard that I'm not thinking about all the other stresses.
Yeah, you're not saturated in the same thing for 7 days a week.
I wonder if you like when you're fishing and like you've just put some ground bait and you pick a packet and think, oh, I've got to sort out that bloody advert campaign for that F1 soup, whatever.
Yeah.
Do you get that halfway through about? Do you think? Can I shake that off? You like trying to shake it off and get back to catching some skimmers?
There's lots of bits whereby, because you're fishing, you can get some stuff, or you feel obliged to. Me and Frankie are on the same match, and it's
of course, and you think this would be useful. I could do a little video.
Can you stay for an hour after, and we'll just do that little bit?
So you're actually thinking about other stuff.
Yeah.
You're consciously.
As someone who is fully immersed in fishing, work and pleasure-wise, I listen to you and I think, I'd love to have a crack at that mindset now, because it's years and years since fishing's been my complete flip.
So say if you went
breakaway.
carp fishing, it would probably do it for you because you're not.
That's why I enjoy going barbel fishing in winter.
Yeah.
But
you'd still make an advantage of that, wouldn't you? You'd still video like.
Of course you do.
You'd still look at the action on this. You're always thinking about work.
Yeah. Whereas I listen to you and I really admire or would like
to have that segment for a day, for a month, for a year. Yeah,
I really would. And I sometimes think it's an advantage when I listen to you then. I sometimes think that's an advantage. You must get that with your jits, Tobe. Like, you don't work in jits, you don't, you know, you're not.
Yeah, it is a really good point. Yeah, I definitely relate to what Dave's saying, actually, about like when, you know, because like everyone's got like kids, job, mortgage, like everything, everybody's lives are so busy. But when I walk into the gym and you step on the mats, it does, for me, it's an hour or 2 hours if I've got a double session. And it's so intense. And there's so much going on that is all you're thinking about. You come out and it's like, yeah, whereas on the other side for you, Matt, yeah, I can imagine that if you're in it all the time, maybe, I actually didn't agree with you at first, but I do now because I'm thinking, no, surely more time is an advantage. But
yeah,
actually,
definitely is sometimes.
Yeah, I'm
definitely
sure it
is sometimes.
But then it's not as focused, whereas that when you hear Dave talk, it's like, for that time, that is just it. Nothing else. You're not thinking about work. You're not thinking about.
I'm not thinking I'm fishing a long pole. My elastic's coming out. You think, well, that'd make a good
exactly
short
that.
video. I've caught on whatever like this additive. Oh, that'd be a good one.
Because I bring it back to your FishO final. What I got from that is like every moment mattered in your match. Whereas,
that was the most focused I've ever been in my life.
Well, that's my point. Whereas, would you still won if you maybe had, that'd make a good video, or actually I want to, because that, I imagine for Matt, that creeps into your head even when you don't want it.
Should have seen at the end, going back to FishO, there's a bit at the end and I went like that and I put my hand up to, I didn't know I was going to explode or burst into tears. Literally. It's like,
during the fishing?
This was literally at the end. It went,
wow.
Woo! And I went back and I shipped it back and I didn't want to laugh or cry. And they said, is it because you thought you'd won? I don't know. I thought it'd been a lifetime of fishing and wanting to be in a final, wanting to win it, and you're thinking,
this could be it.
God knows if I've won it, but I couldn't have done any more. And you were like, that was like, I've never had the emotion like that. It was like,
that's super full of everything.
I'm full. I'm full of emotion.
Yeah. It's magic though, that, isn't it?
Incredible.
It is magic.
It was a relief because I think I was shaking at the end. I was like, people were saying, look at Dave, he's relaxed, he's doing all the right things, he's putting a worm on. And I'm looking down, I'm like, can you see this on camera? My hands are like going, just putting this worm. And I was like, saying to Ryan, I need to calm down. Like almost shouting, Ryan, I need to calm down.
That's like, what they need to show on Sky.
I need to calm down. Like, Ryan's thinking, what's to do? You calm down.
We touched on work, Dave, there. What do you do for a living?
So I'm a crime scene investigator.
CSI.
Wow.
You ever been on the CSI TV show?
Do you know, they did one at work. It's on ITN or something.
Right.
And they came out recording and they only wanted to do like the juicy bits, like the proper murders. Like they wanted to do like a start to finish. This is how it works. Tell all. And I don't seem shy, do I? But like everyone was like, God, I hope they don't take me out because I don't want to make a fool of myself. But I had that at a job and I was like, so we'll just start filming you for me. I went, well, it might not even be blood, so we'll just. And he went, and he could tell for me. He was like, all right, you test to see if it's blood. We won't film until we know. And it was negative, so he didn't film it. I didn't end up in this CSI program. But there's like murder scene investigation or something. It's really good. And there's like 3 or 4 episodes on that, and it's just come out. I don't know which channel, but it was ITN. The stuff that they're an independent company that do stuff for ITV and all sorts. So that's really good. But it's not like the American one. You come in like slick with a jacket on, sleeves rolled up, and you go. They're like Miami Vice. All this. I was just about
to say, is that what you do?
Everybody out, and they come in, don't they? And they walk in. They've got this light, and they go, and they got a fingerprint for John Doe or whatever, and they go, and then they walk off 10 seconds later, get in the car, kick the door, and they go,
yeah, that's it.
Coming with me, motherfucker. And then they take him to court, they interview him, take him to court, and they go, great job.
Yeah, you banged up.
Mine's the exact opposite that. Mine's like, so you're in work, obviously you start work, you've got a list of jobs. They go, your call sign, mine's Whiskey Romeo 72. And you see your numbers in the job. So you get this job, but it's got all like the details on about the complainant. So it tells you what crime.
you get a job through.
It's called a log.
Okay.
It's a log. It's got a log number for that day. Log 72 or the 10th, whatever. And that's your log to deal with. So they assign you a log. You've got to read that. See if you should attend. You need to attend. Make arrangements to, ring them up, see if they're available, all that, whatever normal stuff. And then you go and you've got to try and get as much evidence as you can that's applicable to the job. Not, if I go to your house, don't try and get every fingerprint in your house. I've got the point of entry. I've got a thing like jewellery box they've opened up or something like that. You are literally trying to look for the killer evidence because we ain't got all day. I don't want to get 50 fingerprints and 50 of them be yours. So you go in your little noddy van. After you've made your calls and everything, and then you have a chat with the complainant, and you see what's happened. This scenario is like a burglary. So you go and you chat with them. You know what's happened, but you want to find out what's actually happened, because people, a bit of text don't tell it all. And you just have to be nice to people. Go, be nice, because something bad's happened to them. And somebody might be burgled and just laugh it off and go, not really bothered. It would only took a shovel or something. Some people are devastated. Absolutely, like, I can't live here anymore. I'm like, they're like in floods of tears and stuff like that. So you're like, you have to be really nice to them. You have to be comforting them.
A lot of emotion there, isn't there? There's a lot.
And I go, and it's probably the worst day. And somebody, you've got a death in the family and stuff like that. If nothing bad's happened to you in your life, the worst day is when you got burgled or something more serious. So I go on people's worst days.
That's heavy. That can be really heavy. What sort of stuff do you work on, Dave? How extreme is some of the stuff that you investigate? Do you do real dark, gory stuff? Or?
Yeah, so we go stuff. I mean, you could go to anything, couldn't you? But we might go to theft of a pedal cycle or something like that. But it'd have to be sure there'd be some good evidence there to really go to that. Couldn't go to everything. But then you're out to murders, rapes, robberies.
So real dark
serious
stuff.
Everything. Like the really horrible stuff. The really stuff that,
You must have seen some bad things then in your time.
Yeah.
And does it affect you at all, like having done that? Or have you been trained to see these scenes?
I think, if you care about it a bit more, if you care about your job and what you're doing, the people you're doing it with, I think it's a bit better. I don't know if you were callous and you just said, I don't care, I'd moved on to the next one. I think secretly inside it does. So, but you can only make it better. I can't make it any worse. Imagine you're an ambulance driver, paramedic, and you go, somebody's still breathing, they're having difficulties, you could make that worse, couldn't you? You could bring, if they had a heart attack, they stopped breathing, you can bring somebody back to life. But the success rate on that is like something silly, like 10% of, heart attack victims, So for me, I can't, I haven't got that pressure, but I've got the pressure to try and solve that crime. So if I came to your house and said, I'm only here for half an hour, I'm not really bothered about solving your crime, what would you say?
Pointless, you've been there.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So people want to know that you're attentive and you're concerned about, and you are. That's half the job. You might get there and literally just snuck in the house and not touched anything. So you're there to make them feel better, give them some crime prevention advice, change the locks, do that and whatever. So you can be useful for everyone.
And what about the gathering evidence point? Like, what do you do to actually do that? What's a routine of getting evidence from a crime
scene? It is
scene?
A routine. So finding the evidence, like where it is, isn't routine because every scene is different. But the way that you recover it, it's set out. There are standard operating procedures which are lengthy and meticulous, and you've got to adhere to that wherever you can. You can make exceptions because you can't always do everything. You can't always follow that book precisely, but you've got a report and you can say why you did this and why you didn't do that. But you've got some evidence. You always need to position it. Gets to court, you want a photograph, so you've always got a photograph of where the fingerprint is because it's relatable, isn't it? Like if it goes to court and they say this fingerprint's upside down on a window ledge inside. If I just told you I've got a fingerprint from a window, you'd be like, great evidence. But what if it's outside? What if it's a corner shop?
Yeah, your attention to detail has got to be
that
so
doesn't matter as much. Like I've left fingerprints around here, haven't I? Doesn't mean I burgled the place. So you want to find fingerprints that are like on a jewellery box that they haven't got access to. If somebody's bled, you don't want to pick up the blood that's on the footpath outside. You want it up in the bedroom on the drawers or something. You're like, you've never been here. There's no excuse for that, and you feel it's nailed on then.
Is there just to try and, because everybody's watched, like we said earlier, everybody's watched shows like that on TV. But are there any shows out there or any media that you watch in your line of work and think, oh, do you know what? Even as a form of entertainment, they've nailed that there. Like,
not many.
Are they all? Because I'm just trying to make sense of
not many.
It's not a common job what you do.
It's fantasy, isn't it? Like TV. If you followed me for a day, it'd be boring as chuff. Really would be boring as chuff. It's meticulous, but it's what needs to be done. What's that one now where there's a pathologist goes about?
Don't know. You're asking wrong person for TV.
Anyway, so they just do everything, and they're a pathologist that solves crime, and you just think, you're just making this all up. It's not like that. But it's an exciting... I forgot what it's called now. We watched it, and Jen watched it with me, like, that's not right, that's shit. That's
See, that's what I mean. It's interesting.
And I pull it apart, and I feel sorry for her, like, how does she watch it with me pulling it apart? So I don't watch that as much now.
No watching Law and Order in your house or anything like that.
Have you? I know I don't want to sound weird in this, but does it get interesting for you if the job is, say, super serious? So, like, I find it incredible that I'm sat here and you go to a scene where someone's been murdered. Do you get there and see dead bodies and blood and bad things?
You have to move them around as well. You have to see if there's any injuries and stuff like that.
Surely that takes a certain kind of person to be able to do that. I don't think I could do that. I don't know about you, Toe.
No, not at all.
Like,
don't know, because you are that person, aren't you? So how can you describe what you need? I don't know. It's super serious. You know, but you need to keep your cool because you want to get the right evidence. If you're nervous, you're not getting the best out of yourself, are you?
Are you on your own doing this,
Sometimes.
or is there a team of you?
Might, if it's super serious, you'll have a supervisor there, or you might have another soccer there. But quite often, you're doing a hell of a lot of work on your own, super focused, and you don't want to balls it up.
Have you ever been affected by it, Dave? Because, like, if I was seeing a dead body or stuff like that, and gory scenes, I would really struggle with that personally. Does that not affect you in any way, or does it? I don't know. Does it affect your home life or your fishing, or because I
try not to let it do that, but
how?
I don't know. I think stuff that, like, I was protected a little bit when I had young kids. I've got young kids now; they're 9 and 6. But when they were born, we have to go to, like, child PMs and stuff like that. That's awful, absolutely awful.
What's one of those?
Post-mortem examination of a child that's died.
That's what I mean. I'd be out. I couldn't do that.
But people who haven't got kids, sometimes, like, they step up and they say, I'll take it, Dave, I'll take that. And you're like, thank fuck for that.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do that.
Yeah. That's heavy, that. That is heavy.
That's the worst thing, isn't it?
And
sorry, mate, how did you fall into this line of work? Like, is it something that you've pursued, over a career, or is it something you always wanted to do?
So I did environmental science at uni, not far off from Matt, who did physical geography.
Geography's better.
just wanted to get into fishing, didn't we? Just like, are there some rivers or lakes involved? I'll do that. Put me down for that. So I did environmental science, and then I came out of uni, and I wasn't a brilliant student. I love drinking and the life and the social. So Dave could have been better at uni. And the jobs that I were looking for in environment agency, they weren't particularly well paid. And I was finding them up against people who had PhDs and first class and masters this. And I thought, I'm stuffed. I probably gave up without trying. But my sister worked for the police, and she said, I can't get you a, retract that. Nobody can get anybody a job in the police. It's a bit thorough as the job interview. She said, why don't you apply for this clerical job? So I can type, I can use a keyboard, I can do basic data entry, and that's all it was. So I did that for 2 or 3 years. And then, as it happens, that was in the Footwear Bureau. Believe it or not, they have a bureau to look at footwear marks, classifying them, looking at, I think I'm sat on the lead, like at crime scenes, doing comparisons of footwear marks. So I worked in there, and there's a lovely lady called Jill. I won't say her surname because I don't know if she wants to be on this, but they'd put there was a course on for CSIs, like an initial course, 3-week course, and it was like last minute, and they said, we had somebody pulled out and it cost us X amount of money to do it, will you go on it? I said, yeah, I'll go on it. So I went on this course, really enjoyed it, but I still don't want to work shifts. So I left it a year or two, and I thought, I need a bit more money here. This job's going nowhere. I couldn't get any other jobs that I wanted. I'm 23, something like 20. No, must be older than that. So I applied for a CSI job and I got it. And that was when I was like 27, 26, 27. And that's how I got into it. I think a lot of people, well, maybe different now, but back then a lot of people just fell into it. We've got like ex-miners in the job. They're in the 60s now. Photographers and people who've done all sorts, people who worked in breweries. But now, more than ever, it's people who've got degrees in forensics. People like, you know, like 20 years ago, there wasn't a big hoo-ha about forensics. Then CSI Miami came along and Huddersfield University, then York, whatever. They all do the CSI courses, don't they? And it's mega interesting, isn't it? So you get like 1,000 applicants for like 5 jobs.
It's such a... I just find it amazing that what we class as work and what 90... I don't know, a big percentage of viewers class as work. It's so different what you do. How did you feel? First time you're working, you've started doing this job. First time you get a job through that is like, right, there's been a murder and you're going, Dave.
Shitting myself.
How did that feel?
Shitting myself. You've got a buzz, haven't you? You've got a buzz, but you're like, not a buzz in like, this is exciting, see how this goes. A buzz in like, can't fuck this one up, don't mess this one up.
Yeah.
You got a supervisor goes with you, but you can still, they don't want to sit over and you go, right, that's how you do a swab, do this, do that. You've got to do your own work. They've got to know that they can, like, you know, set you off on a task, examine that room, do this, and you can do it yourself. It's a very independent job, independent thinking. If you can't operate independently and responsibly, it's not for you.
I think you're a bit of a psycho.
Yeah.
You've definitely got to have a bit of something in you. Don't you? Do you know what I mean? I mean that.
Coming back to TV shows, have you seen Dexter?
Yeah, I love Dexter.
Yeah. Well,
BPA analyst, isn't it? Ginger hair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like me.
I'm just saying, Dave's Dexter.
But I think this about things like doctors, nurses, people who do these jobs I've got massive respect for.
Absolutely.
And I put you in that category.
Absolutely.
I just think you've got to have there's something built in people like yourself. I think, it's only my opinion, I think certain people have got to have something built in them that enables them to get through
Psychosis.
Psychos. You're all psychos, but in a really good way.
In a complimentary way.
I think so.
Can you get a compliment out of that?
Yeah. There's something built in that I've got a lot of respect for that allows you to do that kind of job. And if there weren't people doing that, we wouldn't ever get anywhere, would they? If everyone were like me and a wimp and just did an odd little podcast and sat in front of a camera fishing, or even worse, just recorded it, pressed record. But the serious stuff that you do just won't get done.
No.
Amazing. I got a lot of respect for what you do, mate. I really, really have. How do you find a good work-life balance, Dave? Very good at fishing. You've got a really
go
weird...
fishing as much as I can.
But you've got 2 kids, you're married, you've got a wife, you do a job that is, in my eyes, very intense and serious.
Very stressful sometimes.
And you go fishing at a very high level. How do you find a balance?
Don't know.
Just get through it.
Just happens, doesn't it? Just happens. So, you know, more for my wife, you've got to have your holidays. So I know some fishermen just don't have holidays with the family. It's not fair on Jen. So we do have, at least once a year, we have a nice holiday, and we do have day trips away and stuff like that. And bless her, she does a lot of with the kids on a weekend when I'm working or fishing. She'll have the kids every weekend. So when I'm not fishing and I'm weekend off or on a late shift on a weekend, I try to do stuff with the kids. So she just tries to tire the kids out. So they go swimming on Saturdays, they go running Sunday morning, football Sunday. It's go. So it's nice. That's another switch off. You're watching your lad play football. He plays in goals a lot. And you just really like, you know, you get engrossed in that, don't you? Watch him swimming. So proud of him watching him swimming. He's got his 600 metre badge, like 600 metre swim at 9 years old.
Good going, that, isn't it? Damn right.
Yeah. And Isla's in the little splashes.
Ah, bless
So
her.
we call it the little splashes. She's got a 10 metre badge. Like, 10 metres at 6 years old.
I don't think I could have done
I
that.
wouldn't have been brave enough.
No, I don't think I could do it now. I'd just sink.
So that's a distraction. You've got to allow it to be a distraction. And I think fishing as well, you focus, especially like qualifier season. Okay, now I've got all on to be able to plan when I'm buying my casters. Do you know what I mean? Like that. You're order in advance and faff about. And So there's a lot. I'm distracted a lot. Jen will talk to me. She's like, "Oh," and I'll go, "What?"
Because you're thinking about something else.
My brain is like over here thinking about, I need to set some shallow rigs up, I need to buy some casts, what do I want? I don't need some maggots, but she'll talk to me like,
What advice would you give to anglers that want to qualify for a final? You've qualified for a few, you've won one.
What, you mean people who've been fishing them or never fished one?
Both. People who
You've never fished one, fish one, get to one.
People who haven't ever fished one and people who are fishing them but have never qualified. Is there a mindset that you employed to get over the line, to get into a final, to win one, or not?
Break it down into two. So people who've never fished a fish or qualified, just go do one. What's the worst that can happen? You might feel embarrassed if you don't do so good, but I tell you, it might draw a fly, it might get in. First match, mega. And they'd be like buzzing, you're thinking, thank God I did that, thank God I give it a go. No, but I'm not going to stand there and say, what's he doing on a qualifier? Never seen him here before, he's no good, why is he fishing this? And that's the little voices in your head, I'm not good enough, why am I doing this? It took me a couple of years when I went from footballing and club fishing to go on to match fishing, a couple of years to get brave enough. You know, you feel like I'd won a bit of money in the Opens, I thought, I'll give it a go. And I qualified like 5 or 6 qualifiers in, I qualified for a final. So there's evidence for you don't have to be 10 years into open fishing, you know. Look at the lads qualifying, Charlie Law, Rob Swan.
Great young
Been
anglers.
doing fishing 2 minutes, haven't they? A bang in finals, bang, bang, bang.
Could easily win one.
And they haven't let it stop them, have they? They've like, I'm going to fish at the top level, I'm going to fish these opens, these qualifiers. 18-year-olds, Brad Lucas, bang.
Yeah, even Christian. People
bang.
like that, won them. They've won them already.
Yeah. So that's like, just go. And then the people who've been fishing them, and I've seen people who have put everything in 1 year and then they don't fish the qualifiers again. Some people will never draw a decent peg all year, 12 months, 200 miles here, 200 miles there, never draw a decent peg, and you do feel for them. And it's happened to me. So I qualified 2018 for Fish Out, and the next one was 2022. Thought I was broken. Thought, what's up with me?
Yeah,
It was
big
easy
gap
before.
between them.
Why aren't I qualifying? And then it gets in your head a little bit. It's almost like don't give up. If anyone gave up when it got tough, nobody'd be anywhere, would they?
No, you got to get through that. Great bit of advice, mate, that is. Great bit of advice. After winning FishO, Dave, has anything come out of it for you within angling, sort of, I don't know, sponsorship-wise?
What, like opportunities?
Yeah, have any companies approached you, or did you expect that to happen after winning a final or not?
So naively, probably did. So I've been on this journey a little while, and when you watch people get into a final, do you know, like 20 years ago, somebody got in a final, they get sponsored. That stopped happening because then there was 3 finals. You win a final, then you got sponsored. I've won a final, and I'm not me, but it's flattering, isn't it, to have somebody say, I tell you what, Dave, I like that Dave Shires, maybe you could bring him on board. You could do something for us. So I've had 1 or 2 offers, but like from float companies and bits and bats, but no big brand come in.
Do you think that that's become diluted though as well? Because now, like you said, if you got into a final when there was only FishO, that was the thing to do.
I suppose so. You've got 25 anglers that year, and there's only X amount of previous champions, so you've got less pool of people to pick from. Now you've got 3 commercial finals, you've got feeder finals, and they're massive achievements. They're talented people, but you've got more options. Like, I could take him from here or him from there.
Not every person who wins every final now can physically be sponsored by.
There's not enough tackle companies.
No.
Well, they could be sponsored, but it wouldn't be the sponsor that everyone thinks it is.
No.
It's getting a trade.
Would you ever
sponsorship.
Would you ever like to progress more into angling as an industry, or would you like to keep doing what you do in your sort of line of work?
I would, but it's balance in life, isn't it? I would like to do more in fishing. I'd like to get more involved. I find it really interesting on all aspects of it. Like, it's fascinating. I find it fascinating. I would like to do something else in it, but coming from an outsider that I haven't done loads of features and filmings and stuff like that. So I'm just learning now. I'm doing bits and bobs, and I'm liking it. It's interesting.
Enjoying it?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, because you're teaching, you're giving people information, you're improving their fishing.
What about in terms of your fishing itself now going forward? What's next for you, or is there any other things you would like to do? Are you going to change
What,
it?
on like a bucket list thing? What would I like to do?
Yeah. Within match fishing or bigger picture stuff?
I'd like to be consistent in what I'm doing, so you want to continue getting in more finals now. You can't say I want to win loads and loads more titles, because it doesn't happen like that. You want to get in finals, give yourself a chance, and then see what happens. I'd like to be consistent. I'd like to be getting in more finals. So next year, I'm hoping I'm through to the FishO already, but as reigning champ, you do get to defend your title. You know,
Nice.
I think it is like that, but I've not had confirmation. So whatever, we'll find out when we find out. So that will give me more time to do the other competitions. So that give more time for Maver and Golden Reel.
That's a big advantage, though, isn't it? Like, if you're the winner of FishO and you're automatically through to the final next year, I think that's a really cool part of that.
See if I've got something in my bag.
What you got? What's this?
My shifts.
What, you going to check?
No, so this is what I did. Look at that. So this was this year just gone.
Let's have a look.
Don't flash everyone my shifts, but you see them all like different colours for different qualifiers and 4 and 5 each month. So you take all the FishOs out of there. What are the FishOs in?
1,
Are they in green?
2,
Or
3,
yellow?
4, 5, 6. That's 7.
7 in
That's
the first
7.
one. And then there's some on the... So
8.
So if you take 8 qualifiers out, that's 8 qualifiers somewhere else.
Yeah, which
That you
is
can
8 chances.
Big.
Yeah,
Massive,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, but you've done the hard bit and won the final, which I think's a lovely touch from FishO to add that to the pot, to add that to the final. Because didn't Bennett win, went back next year having won,
Yeah.
and then won again? Imagine if
Didn't he said? I'm sure he said on something. He said, it took me 13 finals to win one. And then when he won one, he won the next one.
Phenomenal.
And that's Andy Bennett, isn't it?
But you look at people like an Andy Power who've been in
He's incredible, isn't
dozens and dozens of finals.
But he's won loads. I don't think he's won FishO, but he's won a hell of a lot of like Golden Reels, and don't know if he's won
How has he
Maver.
won? I think he's won Maver and Golden Reel.
I think he's won Golden Reel a couple of times.
I'd love to have him on podcast, Power. I'd love to have him on, but he can't come on because he's Preston.
Yeah.
I'd love to have him on. Really.
He's a really interesting... I chat to him, right? So he's interesting. I think he's more of an introvert, really. He's not like... like bants all over the place. But when you speak to him, get to know him, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he's got a great sense of humour, Power.
Yeah, he's really dry. He's funny. But he just gets on with it. He travels 5 hours, draws a crap peg, gets on with it.
Yeah.
He is the grit.
Who's your heroes in angling, Dave? Like, who are your influencers who you look up to now? Or do you have any sort of angling heroes or anything like
My
that?
angling hero would have been my dad growing up.
Yeah.
Because he's the man that's taking you, showing you stuff. And
Yeah.
at that same time, like 20, 30 years ago, all the big dogs were like Will Raising, Bob Nudd. It was mega, weren't they? They are still mega now. Will's still like in his prime, isn't he? Same age as me, in his prime.
Yeah. You're in your prime.
Hair's faded, but still got it.
Will's not got any hair either, though.
No. He's sexy too as well, isn't he?
He's a shaver. He's a shaver. But they're your era, Bob Nudd, Will Raisin.
Yeah, who else? There was loads. Jan Porter, that red suit, mega.
Jan Porter. He
Honestly,
gets mentioned a lot on podcasts.
Yeah,
Jan
what
does.
a man.
He gets mentioned a lot on
Matt
the
Hayes,
podcast.
all that stuff. There wasn't as much media stuff around. Well, there wasn't any media stuff, was there?
No.
You watched John Wilson or Total
Matt
Fishing
Hayes.
or Tight Lines, and you were desperate. You were searching around. Was it on Quest or something like that? You'd have like sit there and watch.
Discovery Home and Leisure it used to be when I was a kid.
And you'd get a magazine, so you'd have like Angling Times, Anglers Mail, Match Fishing, Pole Fishing.
Yeah.
We'll have to show. We've got Jan Porter's tackle box, haven't we?
Oh,
Yeah. We'll show Dave.
Yeah, we'll have to show
Dave
you
before
after
he
the
goes.
show. Yeah, we've got it here.
It's really touching that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got his box here, sat on that
Yeah,
shelf.
yeah,
next to
fully
Toby.
loaded as well. It's packed. Yeah, it's really
Cool, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's cool. Would you like to become a sponsored angler, Dave? As someone who's not sponsored, is that like an aim of yours in any way, or is
I
it something
think
you'd
it has
really
been.
aspire to
Do
be?
you know, it's one of, you speak to a club angler, like, do you want to be sponsored? They say, yeah, wouldn't they? Open angler, do you want to be sponsored? And I suppose it's a default answer, yeah, I do. I want to get all the free gear, I want to do all this stuff. But I'm learning there's a lot more to it than that. So there's a lot of trust in it, isn't there, being a sponsored angler? They don't just give you gear to go fishing. Well, maybe they do for some people. I think there's a lot more interaction, a lot more responsibility. You've got to earn that sort of trust, and it is a bit more like a job, isn't it?
Definitely.
So I would like to, because I'd like to be more involved. So I find it really interesting. It's quite stimulating, isn't it? I don't. Maybe Dave says this now. Got sponsored, and then it, would it affect me fishing? I don't know. I don't think it would.
No.
Because I thought winning that's it, completed it. But no, I still love my fishing. Still interested. So yeah, it might help me. It might not do. I don't know. Definitely. How do you know until you try? Until somebody approaches you and says, we think we like you. We like how you speak and how you are. On the bank, because it's how you are on the banking, isn't it? How you interact with other people. If you're a nice bloke and you're nice to people on the banking, that's really important, I think. It's your character they're after, aren't they? I say that, I don't know. I don't sponsor folk.
I think you're right, mate. It's a big responsibility. And I think that there's that many, we've had this chat on the podcast a lot, there's that many sponsored anglers in a massive spectrum of ways now. Some people are like...
You don't even know what deal they're on.
Exactly. Some people are through teams. Some people get a few floats and a bit of
through
bait.
Team. We've got Preston and Sonny Bates for the team, so you get like a discount on the tackle, which is really lovely, and it's dead handy. But it's through the team. It's not individual.
That's Preston Northwest.
Yeah.
How do you find team fishing, Dave? Is it a big thing for you, or?
It's not the same as... So there's two aspects to it, isn't there? Like Barnsley, you get very few commercial matches, a shed load of like winter leagues and happy leagues and stuff like that. So we're on the WhatsApp group together. There are always loads of information about soils and mix and stuff like that and what's working. And then I rock up and I might fish the winter league final and the commercial national. So it is team fishing, but it's not like, like on the Staney.
You won commercial national, didn't you? 2020 was it?
2020, yeah.
Commercial
right in the middle of lockdown.
Yes.
I think we had a lockdown draw.
Yeah, we did. And we also didn't have presentation, I don't think.
That was horrible. So, drew the peg. I think it was 13 or 14 on Benny's. If people know the lake, there's a massive tree there. That's covering it in itself. We know fish stay there. And I think weather wasn't great. I think it was really windy and the wind was off my back. So I could present a long pole and I thought, game on, nobody else can hold a long pole unless they've got it off the wind off the back. But I've got a tree as well. And I fished maggot shallow, like through the water. It was October because we couldn't do it in April.
Because of COVID. I can remember,
so it was October. Similar sort of time of year really in the fishing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's tough fishing, but some people have some really good pegs. And I weighed 40 kilo there. I think like second was 28 kilos. I remember Aaron coming round. I'd had a good day, but I got my head down and he said, have you caught? And I went, I don't know what I said now. What would like 40 kilos be? I had about like 35 F1s. He went, have you? So you've won it. I'm like, what do you mean? I've won it with I've got like 70, 80 pounds or something like that. And he's like, yeah, nobody's caught. It's like, give over.
Someone must have £100
Yeah, they always do. It's solid, isn't it? In October, it's solid.
Yeah.
I think fourth place was like 20 kilos. And
oh, my God.
So what's that? £44 out of hundreds of anglers to come forth with that. People must have been scratching around for £10 or £15. I think the weather ruined it. It's a brilliant fishery. I'm not going to say 10 or 15,
Awesome.
A lot of anglers, they put so many anglers on there. Other fisheries couldn't handle it. And the fishing's mega there.
Yeah.
So it's no like reflection of there, but just one of those things. And I'm like, oh, blimey, I won it. And then I came back with the presentation. It was my first commercial national.
First one you'd ever fished?
Yeah.
And you won it.
I've not been asked by anybody. No, tell a lie. I think I fished once or twice a few years ago for Lindholm.
Right.
And they always get the team sorted. I'm not necessarily there fishing, so they forget about you. I always get the team sorted. You're not in the team. I'm like, fair enough. And then it was Brent Richards' team, I think, Northwest Angling or something like that, and they asked me to fish for them. And I won it.
Fished it, won it.
But at the end, the presentation, I didn't know what to do. You're like, stay
that
10 metres away, stay back,
yeah.
stay back. And you've got masks on and you're all sat around and you're not to come back to the presentation. Like, I've won it. Can I not just come back and sit and
have a photo at least?
And they're like, no, we're not giving medals out. I got it in the post.
It's incredible, isn't it?
They're like, I'm like, do I stay here? You're going to give me a presentation? You're going to do what? No.
But I suppose that's what we were living in at that time.
People
innit?
were dying, weren't they?
Yeah.
And fishing's fishing, not.
Yeah,
no.
It doesn't really matter.
No. Ultimately, fishing's not going to save your life, but not getting an infection from somebody could save a life. So, yeah, it's fair enough. But it was surreal. Surreal, very surreal, that.
Winning a national, but not being
Massive
able to go back and
event,
have your photo.
yeah.
Absolutely mad. I know that you listen to the podcast, so you probably know what the quickfire questions are.
Oh, yeah.
But a few quickfires for you.
Yeah.
If you had an item in your tackle box you couldn't live without,
Yeah, I should have brought it. I was going to bring it.
what is it?
So, it's like a MIDI thing, like a clear plastic MIDI with like a discarding one, and that's too small to do anything with commercials. But on the other end, it's got this pointy, silvery pointy knot picker, and it's like a parabolic curve. You know what that is? Like the like a U shape, and
Right.
it starts off really fine, and it gradually bores out. You put that through a knot, and you can open the knot up.
That'd be really handy for me because I get in a lot of tangles.
Do you know the other thing as well? Do you know when you've got rigs set up on your top, it's like I do, and eventually the loops straighten out?
Yeah.
And then you're in a match and it's raining, you can't get the loop through a loop. You can't open up your
Because
main
it's
line.
like
Look,
that.
yeah.
Right.
This is what you do. You put that in and you pull tight on it from the rig end, from the float end, and it gives you a curve in it. And you've got a loop then. Brings it back to a loop.
I think we've just got a new product
I was gonna
idea there.
say, were you taking notes?
Knot picker
There'll
slash
be-
knot opener.
It's got to be right knot pick. It's got the right curvature on it. There'll be loads of people out there have knot pickers, though, don't they? But it's one
Yeah.
I've had for ages. And if you've got a tool that's right, use it.
Okay.
Keep it. Don't chuck it.
Like it. Great answer, that one. Don't think we've had that one before either. If you could only fish one venue for the rest of your life, where would it be and why?
So like the Ponzi question wouldn't be like, oh, I'd like to fish the Trent for the rest of my life because it'd be different all the time. But it's not really. It'd be Lindholm.
Yeah?
Because I do love Lindholm. And yeah, you get bored of it sometimes. But the lakes are just so many different disciplines. Loco, bennies, some it's 15 foot deep, some it's 3 foot deep. Be honest, you know, I've chosen to fish there for the last 10, 15 years. So
You'd never get bored at Lindholm. I don't think you would. There's too much variety.
you're less chance of getting bored there than you would at any other fishery.
Totally agree. Deep
Everyone would get bored
lakes.
just going to one fishery, but you're less likely there.
Yeah. Silverfish, F1s,
They could do a winter silver series. They don't do one, but they could do a silverfish one.
I spoke to Aaron and Alex about it.
100%.
Yeah. We could do.
Locals full of some big skimmers and that. Mental.
Might go and do some on there.
Tell you what, bonsai used to be solid years ago. What did I have a match? I had a match once. I had like £90 and £80 of it was skimmers and barbel on maggot short. Mint.
In winter?
Don't know when it was actually. It must have been like early spring or something like that. I don't know. Slashing maggots in.
Great venue. It is a great venue. Who's the best angler that you have ever fished with?
So I obviously go on a lot of like qualifiers and that, and I think it'd be a bit unfair with that because I don't fish with them regular. So they'd be like Bennett, but I only see him once in a blue moon. But the one who does spring to mind, and half of the people who've come on your podcast have said it, but I'm Scott on. So he does go to Lindholm regular, and he is 5 times world champion. Just unreal. And not so much in recent years, because I don't think he's always there now, but I just remember him some years just like destroying the field on some opens. Like, what is he doing? Speedy's done the same with his feeder, but pole work for him. He was like, one year he was like, we're all fishing meat. And he was throwing, I'm sure he was throwing sweet cod at 6 metres and fishing meat on the hook and putting the rig through slow and getting catching shallot at 6 metres, and everyone else was fishing 13 metres, pouching meat, and he was battering you. Just stuff like that. I might have got that wrong, but it just...
Yeah, Big Al.
They were just doing something different. And do you know what? I think that's a confidence element. I can do what I want. He's not been insulting to you. He's not taking the mick at you by doing something. But he's just like, he's so confident. I'm going to try this. And if it works, I'm going to perfect it. Give him, first week, he might be a bit rusty. Give him 3 or 4 weeks at Lindholm. He'll win all the Opens. He's just so analytical and just talented.
And he's got the credentials to prove it better than anyone else in the world.
Yeah.
Alan Scawthorne, another one.
Another
Love
one.
to have him on the show.
Yeah.
All I'll say is keep your eye out for that name, because there might be another Scawthorne coming up at some point in the very near future on the show.
That'll be interesting.
I've got a little booking in the diary.
Good little teaser, that.
Tease me, Halcon Hunt. If there's one thing you could change about fishing, Dave, what would it be?
I had one for this, actually. I thought about it. I can't remember what I thought. Rules. That'd be it.
Comes up a lot.
They said there's 2 things, moaning and rules.
Who's the biggest moaner you know in fishing?
Alan Scott.
Yes! I knew you were going to say that.
I didn't pause, did I?
I knew you were going to say that. Who's the best angler you know, Dave? Alan Scawthorne. Who's the biggest moaner
Shall I tell you a story?
you know?
Shall I tell you a story? So I'd pegged the match. We were a little open, and I pegged it, and I put in peg 47 outside the cafe.
Yeah.
And it was heard saying, "Oh, put this in. Put this in." People kept pulling up outside my peg. Fished the match and he won it.
Did I?
And he actually said to him, "I'm sorry for having a pop." And he smashed the match, and he was like, "You're right, I needed to go in." And he battered the match. 2 and 5 times, not always right, are they?
No. 5 times world champion. Moans a lot. Great guy, though.
Yeah.
What did you mean by rules? What don't you like about rules, or what do you like?
So we had a lot
change?
of rules at Lindholm, and it was just getting too much. 8-inch lash. You know, like I'd set my shallow rigs up to go around the country fishing shallow for F1s. You want to fish 3, 4, 5 inches, don't you? And you're having to have separate shallow things. I'd have like ones for Lindholm, 8 inches. You know, everything. You're fishing 14 inches deep. You have to tie a rig up 22 inches deep to do it. Such a bloody faff. And I don't think it helps club anglers or other open anglers trying to get into it, because it makes it harder for them. If they fish somewhere else, are they put off coming to another venue because they've got to, I forgot all about that. Can't do that. And it puts them off. So they think, I know how to catch doing this or whatever, but I can't use that there. And now they've got rid of the rules. I feel better because it's just more relaxed. I've got less to remember. You do the same as me. Travel all over. You're bound to go somewhere and not know the rules.
You could easily slip up.
Yeah.
I think a set of rules for match fishing overall would be great, but I also think it's very difficult to be able to actually do
the rules in for a reason, like, you know, the band meat and what have you. You know, they're doing it to look after the fish. They're not doing it to take the mick. But sometimes they're doing it because somebody destroys the field, wins 10 matches in a row, and then nobody turns up to the Opens.
It's almost penalising someone for being
So
good.
that's what they're trying to do. I'm not saying Lindholm was, but other venues have done that before, right? They've stopped doing that. And then what they want, so that person's penalised and numbers come back. But it's a tricky one, isn't it? It's always a fine balance, but you shouldn't have 20-odd rules, should you?
I don't think so. Don't like rules myself.
Half a dozen rules, basic one, no meat, you know, keep your nets out so they're dry beforehand, no hand lining or whatever. If you don't want them chopping down your trees or digging holes in your pond, fine.
That's just all fish welfare or environmental.
Yeah, and looking after the fishery. But tactic-wise, do what you want. Do what you want. Just fish a 20-metre floating pole, let them.
Yeah. I'm with you, mate, on that one. And it's a very, very common answer in the quick fires. If you had to give someone who's never been fishing before some advice or motivation to go and have a go at it, what would you say to them?
I'd say if you've got a mate who fishes, great, go with them. And if you haven't, go out with somebody. Do you know, I think people think that fishing is like a peaceful spot to get away from it, but I think it's fun. I think it's fun to go and experience. If you 2 people go fishing for the first time together, that's a shared memory, isn't it? Who are you going to tell? Like, you come back home to the wife or something, and you've gone on your own, you've caught something, I caught this big carp. She's like, all right, did you? But if it's 2 of you gone, and you're like, yeah, we're going to go back to that peg because you had a tench that £3, I want to catch one £4. And it's just shared, feeling that's shared. So important. Mum, you know, dad and son, dad and daughter, whatever. sharing that like excitement, aren't you? Take a picture together, do something like that.
That's one of the best answers I've had for that question.
Yeah,
And
brilliant.
when I actually think about it, the best stories on this show, and I'm saying you're probably going to say the same about the Corda podcast as well, Tobe, is when an angler's talking about an experience with someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very rare you get a killer story that's just a person on their own. It's always with someone else. Like that one. Really, really like it. That's a fantastic answer, Dave Shires. And finally, other than the official 2024 FishOMania trophy that you're going to leave us as a gift, which we really appreciate, by the way. It's very, very generous.
Kinda.
Have you brought us another gift as well as
I brought you 2 gifts.
We like multiple
Yes,
gifts.
we do. Yeah, you can come back.
One was visible beforehand.
Do I need to make some room on the table here, Dave?
You do. It's a big one.
Oh, I've
a
heard
big
that
one.
before. I've heard that before.
And it's a big gift as well. Whee!
Look at that. Is this the official one?
Yeah, look.
Is this from the winning?
Look, it's got mud all over it and shite.
Look at that.
So that's
Look
the.
good, that.
Toby, how are you going to fit this in the new cabinet?
Oh, no, we're going to need a bigger cabinet.
So
You see, it's got all. But you know, that's nice. Like if you could smell it, what does it smell of? Can you smell out? No, you want to smell fish. But I think like it's tactile. Look at the dribbling marks. So it's just it's nice,
It's
isn't it?
real, isn't it?
Yeah.
Makes you think of it. Like I haven't cleaned it. I would never clean it. Please don't clean it. Leave it for people to see with the muck on.
Christian Jones is there.
I know. I've seen. He gave you one of that.
We've now got a complete table topped with
It's a different
these
colour as well.
different.
Yeah, it
that's
is.
nice.
That's going to come sit right up here.
And they'll say, "Is Dave Shires?" Yes, he's been in the podcast. I can see.
Yes, we have.
But like,
Thank you,
I've left my
Dave.
mark.
Yeah,
I've
no,
got
that's brilliant.
another one as well.
That'll be on
Go
show.
on then.
That.
Another one.
I love multiple gifts.
You
It's
do,
like
didn't
little
you? You get all
Christmas every
excited.
time,
You
yeah.
do. You like.
Oh,
It's only a little one, but that's
27th of the 7th, 2024, Fisho final, Edgerig. Is this, be dead honest, is this the actual rig?
yeah.
Oh my
Right, that's
God.
definitely going in the cabinet.
That
wish.
is great.
Yeah.
I wish it had like a wrinkled up bit of worm on it. I've got one that does have that, but I didn't bring the other rig because that's the daddy rig. That's the one that was
Incredible.
Yeah, I won it with that basically.
Has that hook been in a fish's mouth that you...
I bet I only changed me up like once or twice in the final.
Wow.
That is absolutely cabinet worthy. That is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
So that's
that's
a
going.
FishOMania final. That rig.
I don't even change the float depth. That's the exact depth. I think it's
not gonna-
19 inches. I haven't moved any shot. Don't move any shot.
Wow. Oh, Dave,
Yeah,
that's
that's
a great
mega.
gift. What
Mega.
main line's it on?
19 power line.
A mug lens.
16 AccuPower.
What hook?
GPM 16.4.
What size float is it?
I think it's a DS mudliner.
DS mud. Look at that. I think I might use this at weekend.
Oh, it's going in my cabinet.
Nah, I think I might use that one at the weekend.
Can't cast that out on a rod, can
That's
you, mate?
true, to be fair. Oh, Dave, thank
Thank
you.
you, mate.
That's a
Mega
bloody
gift.
great gift, that is. A Fisho winning rig. And I can't get it unwind it, same as it were before.
Do it other way first. You're doing it back to front.
Am I?
Yeah, hook it at the front.
Like that?
That's it. And then the float will end up on the front, won't it?
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Look. Oh,
Or
Dave.
thereabouts.
Amazing.
Good. I hope you enjoy that.
What a fantastic gift. And thank you very much for coming on the show.
Oh, my pleasure.
I am very confident that we'll see you again.
Oh, yeah.
If you, or when you...
Wish I was.
When you win some of our finals, you're going to come back on now and
Yeah,
have another
definitely.
night.
Yeah.
I've
yeah.
right enjoyed talking to you, mate. And,
Yeah, me
and
too.
I've enjoyed the fact that you strike me as a very, very down-to-earth, normal person with a really, really, really cool job. I've never met anyone who does CSI before, and I've got loads and loads of respect for your
Thank you.
fishing, what you do in it, and what you've achieved so far.
Thank you.
I really have. So thank you for coming on, mate.
Yeah,
You enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Course I have.
Nando's on you with 50 grand
yeah.
Fisho winning it.
Come on, let's go. Let's get some chicken.
Cheers, Dave.